It's the Odd Drunk Podcast, a very strange podcast, the drunkest show in the world. It's Jackson and Colton talking out of their ass. We don't care as long as drinks are poured. Sometimes we have our friends here. We will talk about anything. We don't care as long as we have beer. And if you let that whiskey ring. The Odd Drunk Podcast. Oh, hi.
Hi.
Welcome back. It's been a little while, hasn't it?
Yeah, a lot has happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a new president of our drama club.
Oh, hey, we don't want to get political here, Colton.
He really doesn't understand Shakespeare.
Drama and theater politics is...
To be fair, neither do I. So I'm not even in it. I'm not even in the drama club. So
I don't even think Shakespeare understood what he was writing. Was he even real?
It is a conspiracy.
That
theory.
is true. It was like...
We should definitely do another...
It was like a name that many writers took, you know.
Yeah, we should definitely do another conspiracy theory episode.
Oh, for sure. But yeah, welcome back. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's the Odd Drunk Podcast. We're back.
We survived. We're here. We didn't just bail.
Yeah.
And yeah, we've made a lot of upgrades. Hopefully you notice the sound quality and all that.
Yeah, we have an actual studio now.
Yeah. Like we're not just...
It is the spare bedroom.
But it
is set up as an actual dedicated studio.
We got it professionally soundproofed by this guy that does... he builds studios for the Foo Fighters.
Yeah, he's over here in the corner here. Danny DeVito.
Mr. DeVito. Yeah. And yeah,
if you don't get that, follow our Instagram because if
you'll see it.
Follow our Instagram or you're a poser.
I got us well, we've invited Danny DeVito on the podcast. He's not going to say much. He's just going to stand there staring at us.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's on right now. He's just kind of a blank plank at this point. He's a cutout. But I thought it'd be fun.
I think it's wonderful. It's a very...
And I love, we're sitting down, but we're practically at eye level with him.
Yeah. That is...
Like if I sit up a little bit.
I knew he was short, but I didn't realize he was that short. It's a nice cutout. The image they use is a very friendly...
He has some thick fingers, too, and a big head. I didn't realize. I mean, I realized from watching
Have you ever seen that movie where Arnold Schwarzenegger plays his twin brother?
Yeah, what is it called?
I don't remember what it's called, but that's a great movie.
Yeah, like I think it's just twins or something like that. But yeah, they're brothers. I haven't seen it actually.
That is a golden duo of actors: Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito.
Yeah,
what I wouldn't give to have another a sequel to that. Not because it's actually a good movie, but because that would be awesome.
I prefer his performance as the Penguin. Because he's just constantly gargling like black tar, and he's like being exceptionally grosser than usual.
Have you ever watched the Graham Norton show?
Oh yeah, of course.
I've never actually sat down and watched the show, but I watch it on YouTube all the time, like clips.
For those who don't know, he's a British talk show host guy.
It's they have funny interviews on there, and Danny DeVito was on there, and he said when he told a story of when he was filming the Penguin, that scene where the monkey comes and delivers the message for him.
Yeah, I know.
Apparently, the monkey took one look at at Danny DeVito in his costume with the goo from his mouth and everything, and launched at his balls.
Straight at his balls.
And took a big bite, and luckily the costume was padded up enough.
Yeah, he took a chunk of the padding though. Yeah, and apparently they shot the next take right after that. They just fixed his costume real quick.
Yeah. Apparently Danny DeVito insisted on a metal plating down there. Or something. He was like, get something down there.
Monkey. Okay. Fun fact: monkeys and chimps
are terrifying.
Well, yeah, but they will go straight for your balls.
Yeah.
Generally,
they will also go for your face too.
The two critical points of a human being: your balls and your face.
Yeah.
If you're a man, at least, or whatever. I don't want to get into that. But yeah, it's good to be back. I've missed it. It was nice to have a break, but I'm ready to be back in the swing of things.
Doing it.
and to be drinking way too much at least once a week, at least.
Yeah. I try to limit to it just the day we record. But that doesn't always go as planned.
Last semester, for one of my classes, they asked us like, "Oh, what's something special or whatever?" And I was like, "Oh, I have a podcast."
Oh dear.
And what's it called? And then
That's
I
the
just
problem.
very reluctantly answered.
That's the problem with being on a podcast called the Odd Drunk Podcast, is that there are some people where if, I might mention I'm in a podcast and make that mistake of mentioning it.
Yeah.
And then they're like, what is that? And I'm like, this is not a person that I want to know that I do a podcast where I get drunk.
Yeah. But
I don't want my professor. I don't want my professor and my academic advisor knowing that once a week.
No, I told my professor, I was like, you can check it out if you want, but it's definitely not safe for work. We drink and we talk about stupid things all the time. She was like, oh, so it's a pop culture entertainment podcast. And I was like, that's one way to describe it.
That is a way you can describe it.
But today, in one of my, I've already told you this. Yeah. I'll tell our listeners real quick. And in one of my classes, actually my last class before we're recording, professor asked, okay, general stuff, your name, pronouns, all that. And then what's the first thing you're going to do when you don't have to wear masks anymore, out in public and whatnot? And I always answer questions honestly, okay? Yeah. It's just me. I'm an honest person. And I take them extremely literally because I was like, well, the first thing I'm probably going to do if I don't have to wear a mask is go to a bar like J-Bo's. I mean,
yeah, it's probably one of the first things I'm going to do.
But it's hilarious because everyone else in my class was like, oh, it'll be nice to not have to wear a mask at the gym. So that's like a healthy thing. Or, oh, traveling, being with friends, going to concert, whatever. But I'm like, that's not going to be the first thing I do.
Things.
The first thing I'm going to do is not going to travel.
The first thing I'm going to start
or go to a concert. Yeah, planning.
Is going to maybe a concert.
Yeah, exactly.
But the first thing I'm going to actually do
is go to a bar.
Is go get piss-faced.
I mean, one of the reasons we started this podcast is because we couldn't hang out at bars anymore.
Yeah, that's the reason, as some of you who listen regularly know, I'm into mixology and cocktails.
Yeah.
And the whole reason I started learning how to make cocktails is because I couldn't go to bars and get a bartender to make them for me.
Yeah, exactly. Well, improvise, adapt, overcome, innovate.
Yes. Modern problems require modern solutions.
But before we get into, you know what this episode is from reading the title, but I forget about that. But before we get into the actual episode, I just want to do a quick recap of our beer ranking. I'm not going to go through every beer. I'm not going to take 3 hours.
Just the highlights.
So we had a three-way tie. So
yeah, you told me, but I forgot because it was like
I forgot too. So, and as you all know, if you listened, we had a very arbitrary and biased way of ranking these. Because, we ranked taste, but then we also went by if it comes from a cool place or if it's a cool design.
Yeah.
And color. Color is important, I would say.
In fact, actually, most of the ranking was stuff like arbitrary stuff like how good it looks, where it's from.
Oh, and how drunk it gets you.
How
it's
cool a can is. And how, there's can design and, ABV. There was only one category that was taste related.
The taste category.
Yeah.
That's fitting. But I was kind of surprised on some of these results. So one of our highest ranking ones was the Bat Squatch, and it is good. I like it.
I've had it since. It is good.
Yeah, it got after I've averaged everything, it got 7.8. And I want to say that nothing got higher than an 8. And actually, I'm pretty sure 7.8 is the highest score.
Yeah.
Like, there's a beer I really like on here that got like a 5.
Which one?
It's, where is it? The Voodoo Ranger.
Oh, yeah. Voodoo Ranger is...
Oh, no, that's the pumpkin one. Ugh.
Oh, yeah, that was
I hated it. Never mind. That one sucked.
The normal Voodoo Ranger would have scored a little higher. Well, I remember we put... one of my favorite like go-to beers is a Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. I don't think we ranked that super high.
No, that only got a 6.4.
Yeah.
So a lot of beers, most of them were like 6 and above, but then like PBR and stuff like that, they had like 5s and 4s.
Yeah.
Um,
You know, one of my favorites though from that list that I saw at the liquor store the other day and I didn't buy for whatever damn reason was the Berry Noir.
Speaking of which,
So good.
that one also tied with the Bat Squatch, getting a total of 7.8.
Deserves it, yeah.
Oh, it definitely deserves it. Deserves to be higher than that, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
And then the next one. Wait, is it just those two? Oh no, the Starburst IPA, which that one really surprised me.
Yeah, I didn't because like
It's good.
but like Space Camper, for example, was I think taste wise is a better beer, but off of our arbitrary.
I like Space Camper more.
Yeah, but
and
off
we
of
even
our-
liked its design more.
Yeah, but off of our weird way of ranking stuff, Starburst came out on top. Another example of that is one of my favorites of like personal favorites of the list that wasn't. I mean, it's up there, but what wasn't in the top was Pseudo Sue.
Oh yeah.
That's a great beer.
But yes. But yeah, those three they got 7.8s.
I still have leftovers from that episode.
Out of Berry Noir, Bat Squatch, and Starburst, which one would you pick?
Berry Noir. And that's a weird one for me because I'm not like super into sours. I'm an IPA type of guy. I'm your standard basic white boy.
Yeah.
But Berry Noir is so damn good. It is. No, in my fridge right now, I still have 2 Crank Yankers and the Boulevard Brewing Nitro Stout.
Oh yeah, that one was.
The Nitro Stout, honestly, I don't
It's
like that
okay.
one that much, so I drank it. The Crank Yankers, I like Crank Yanker, but I had so much beer left over. It's taken me, and I've not been drinking a ton of beer this last month.
Yeah,
so
me
it took
either.
me a month to get through all of them.
Yeah. For reasons, I took a break. Yeah.
And most of the time when I am drinking beer, it's like when I'm going to someone's house and they say, "Hey, grab a 6-pack." So I'm not bringing the beer from that was left over.
Right. Yeah.
I should have.
Because you have a bunch of singles.
Yeah, I should have brought some of that though. Speaking of beer, though.
Speaking of which, yes. Yeah. How did we do this?
We tell what we're drinking.
Oh yeah.
What are we drinking?
So
today?
I found a PBR hat, as you can see.
I like it. I used to have a PBR hat. I won it at one of the auctions at the Punk Rock Breakfast, but I gave it to Tristan because I honestly never wore it. So, but Tristan's like super. It would like that's yours is like a cool trucker hat. Mine was like the foam trucker hat.
Well, yeah, they always hand out the foam ones there, but yeah,
Yeah.
mine's got like the patch on it and like.
Yeah, that's a cool
Mesh.
one. That's a style trucker hat I would wear more than the one I had. But Tristan has my old one. But it's a cool hat though. That one.
The description actually described it as like an uncle baseball cap.
I was at getting a beer with.
I don't know why uncle. I mean, yes, probably a lot of uncles wear this, and I am an uncle now.
I was
So, there you
getting
go.
a beer with our good friend David recently,
David. Oh yes, David.
and I had worn a button-up shirt. I was wearing my watch and everything, and he looked me up and down. He goes, "You look like a dad."
Well, from the start, we've already had dad energy on this show.
Our whole group of friends is all dad energy. You, me, Caleb. We're all just the dad friends.
Especially, I mean,
Because it's like we all have our other groups of friends we hang out with.
yeah.
You know, our work friends and stuff like that. And out of those groups, we are the dads of the groups. But then we have all congregated into a group of just...
Not responsible dads.
No. We're more like uncle energy.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's more fitting.
But he
Yeah.
said, he was like, "You look like a dad." I'm like, "Well, I just did buy a new baseball hat, and I specifically bought the dad style hat because I don't like the snapback style."
Yeah, me neither. I like them in some scenarios, but anyways,
Sometimes,
yeah, I got PBR because my
Nice.
PBR, and you know,
can't go wrong
thought
with that, really.
you know, go back to basics for this
Yeah.
new season or whatever we want to call
I'm
it.
pretty
new
sure
year.
we had PBR on like the first episode.
We did.
Yeah.
We also had like Coors and like Foster's too.
We had Foster's.
A lot of that. We haven't had Foster's since that episode, I don't think.
Foster's is a beer that I actually, as far as cheap beers go, I really like it.
Yeah.
But I never buy it. Because you only buy it like in singles, in those big cans. And when
I'd rather just grab a 6-pack
exactly,
or something, you know. But tonight's episode, first we kind of threw around the idea of just talking about video games in general, you know, maybe stuff we like. But after some thinking, putting some thought to it, something I do sometimes with my brain.
Yes.
I was like, you know what's better?
Sometimes Jackson does think.
I do think sometimes.
He does most of the thinking in this podcast.
Oh, come on. You're making me blush. No, but I was like, you know what? It would be better for us to shit on a bunch of video games.
Yes.
And with some recent releases, I think it's very fitting.
There have been some recent ones worthy of shitting on.
And also, there might be some things we don't cover that are video game related, but we'll get to that in the future.
Yeah.
Because tonight, we are only focusing on the most disappointing, worst, and just upsetting games.
Yeah. Now, clarification, not all of these games are bad.
No.
They were disappointing.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll be talking about games we've played personally.
I try to avoid bad games.
Yeah, I generally try to too. I don't often pre-order games. I often wait a week after it comes out and see what people think of it first.
Yeah, well, I made the mistake of pre-ordering one of these. Actually, two of them.
Yeah, same.
Same.
I have 2 on my list that I pre-ordered.
Because we were lied to, okay?
No, I have 3 on my list I pre-ordered.
Really?
Yeah. Although one of them I really don't think is a bad game. It was just disappointing.
Yeah.
But it's the least disappointing of my games though on my list though. One of these games, because we have a couple more drinks to talk about. One of these games, spoilers.
You all know what we're going to talk about.
It's related to one of our drinks. It's Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah, it's obvious.
And the reason I brought that up now, we'll get to that in a few minutes, is because for our drink tonight, I like to make cocktails sometimes when it's appropriate, and we made the Johnny Silverhand.
Yes.
From the game that they describe, although I didn't use the recipe they say in the game.
And
I used a recipe from that Greg at How to Drink over on YouTube, that YouTube channel.
Yeah,
this is a modified version of his recipe. It's a good drink. Honestly, it's the best thing to come out of that game.
What about all the terrible merch and marketing? And like it's.
Are you talking about the Cyberpunk 2077 gaming chair?
God.
Let
me talk about gaming chairs. Can I rant about gaming chairs? They're dumb. They're unnecessary. They're over-designed. They look like you're 12 years old.
And they're not typically
and
actually that comfy.
They scream, I live in my mom's basement.
Yeah. You know what I'd rather...
Okay, but anyone that has a gaming chair, sorry. That's just what I think.
Yeah.
But it's okay that you have it.
If you like it, that's good.
But I'm never going to not think that.
You know what I would rather have than a gaming chair?
Just a big... Just a leather, like...
Just a fucking recliner.
Yeah.
Yeah, a leather recliner would be the perfect gaming chair.
Yeah.
Unless you're playing on PC, they make some really comfy office chairs with back support.
There's some
stuff like that.
Chairs that could be considered gaming chairs, but they're basically just like nicer office chairs. I'm down with that.
Yeah.
But like the ones with like the head padding and like all the design.
Yeah.
It's like stop.
They're over designed to try to appeal to gamers so they can overcharge, but really for the same price.
Oh yeah, and they're way too pricey.
For the same price, you can get a premium like CEO office chair.
Yeah. And that's what you want.
And that's way more comfy.
Yeah. I mean, I'd rather sit in the chairs we're sitting in right now than a gaming chair because I have more dignity than that.
These are actually pretty comfy. I'm happy with these. This is a good,
you don't need.
I got.
I mean, well, most office chairs have wheels, but you don't need them.
You don't need them, no. They are fun though.
You have the gaming chairs that have like an unnecessary amount of wheels.
Yeah.
Like 8 wheels or whatever. You know.
They are just...
I do like the ones where you can lay all the way back, though. I do think that's pretty fun.
I don't trust that.
It's like you're getting into it and you just fall backwards. Or you're like in a class.
I don't trust that it'll work. That if I lean back, it won't fail.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I don't trust. The office chairs with wheels, they're not supposed to do that. My experience is when you lean back too far on those, they fall and you hurt yourself.
You know what? Maybe we'll do an episode on the most disappointing gaming chairs.
Maybe. I wouldn't have much to say, though, because I've never owned a gaming chair. So.
But we can make fun of them for like an hour and a half, I bet.
Yeah. But anyway, the Johnny Silverhand. It's a tequila old-fashioned. If you don't know what an old-fashioned is, go look it up. Okay, I'll explain it. I'm getting the vibe just from the microphone that people aren't.
Not everyone listening is an alcoholic.
And that people won't go
drink.
look it up when I say look it up.
Yeah, so just...
an old-fashioned is any type of liquor, typically whiskey is the common one.
Yeah.
With bitters, sugar, and
syrup.
water.
And sometimes they use syrup, but you're
Well,
supposed
the syrup, so if you're using syrup, what simple syrup is sugar and water.
Yeah.
So you can use simple syrup, or if you're making a whiskey old-fashioned, the best way to make it is to muddle a sugar cube and add a tiny splash of water.
Yeah.
So this is a tequila old-fashioned. In the game, they say a splash of cerveza, which is beer.
Yeah.
But that's just a splash. That's just a watered-down old-fashioned. So what I did based off of how to drink his video is I layered a dark Mexican beer on top. So it's about half old-fashioned, half beer with chili garnish. I used tahini.
I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'm very much enjoying this.
Everyone
drink.
online was using either just straight chili powder or actually chilies like jalapenos as garnish.
How fancy.
But tahini is so damn delicious. I grew up in Los Angeles and we just snack on that shit. So I couldn't resist.
Yeah, you put it on Mexican candy and stuff.
Yeah. And the beer I used, which is the beer I am drinking now, is from Ska Brewing, the Mexican lager, the dark Mexican lager. It's a new beer they came up with. It's basically a Negro Modelo.
Negra.
Negra. Well, Modelo is a masculine word in Spanish. So,
but they say negra.
They say negra, but I understand why. But knowing Spanish, naturally I say negro.
That is
because
the Spanish word for black.
That would be the proper.
Yeah.
Well, if you were talking about black and then describing something that's
masculine,
a feminine word, you would say negra.
Yeah, if it was feminine, yeah. And if it's masculine, it's an O.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
So, sorry. That's a side tangent.
I also have, it doesn't have anything to do with anything, but I thought you should try it. Peanut butter milk stout from Left Hand Brewing. They're from Colorado.
We've not had any Left Hand
I don't know
Brewing
where
on the show. Before.
I haven't had Left Hand Brewing maybe for 6 months now.
Yeah, it's been a while. I don't buy them very much. They're a beer, a brewery that
sorry about that.
I kind of typically just nice. I kind of just when they have it on tap at a bar.
Yeah, I don't really buy them that much, but I like it, kind of. I'll get to why I kind of like it.
When I finish this beer I'm drinking right now, I will open that up and try
one. But yeah, so let's get into this. Do you want to get to the big one like now?
Should we start?
Let's just start on it.
Why not? Cyberpunk 2077.
Everyone, if you were living under a rock or you don't care about games, you don't know about it, but everyone knows about it.
Yeah, they had billboards in Times Square.
I bet my grandma even knows about it.
And Keanu Reeves, which is the best part of the game.
And that's just like some shameless celebrity marketing. A lot of games are doing that now. They'll just put a celebrity in it.
But as far as celebrities go, Keanu Reeves is a good one.
He is a good one.
Yeah.
But
I'm a big Keanu fan.
It is a shame that they used him to market this.
Here's the thing that I'll say about the game that'll get out of the way, and then we can talk about the game itself.
Yeah.
Is the big reason it was so disappointing for me, because I've played it quite a bit. I've actually so far enjoyed the game mostly, despite the problems. And that doesn't excuse the problems, but I have enjoyed it. What's so disappointing is that CD Projekt Red, the developer, has spent the last decade building themselves up to be the friend of the gamer.
Yeah.
Whereas you have companies like EA and Ubisoft, which are gained a reputation for releasing buggy, unfinished games, loading them with microtransactions. And then you had CD Projekt Red, which was the opposite. They built themselves up with a reputation of they released good, finished games with attention to detail, and they had really good relations with their fans and the community. And they built that up, and they super overhyped it. It's honestly, right before it came out and they had reviewers were giving it 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. That's really suspicious. A lot of people think CD Projekt Red might have actually paid to, reviewers to give it good reviews, and I don't want to make accusations because we don't know that's true.
Is that reviewers played, "Hi, it's David.
It's David.
We can hook you up if you want." But I've heard that many reviewers actually played like a special version that they created.
Yeah.
For reviewing.
Yeah, and that's
on the highest grade PCs you can find. It's just a situation
where, and it's why it was so disappointing for me, despite the fact that I did overall enjoy the game, was that the build up to the game, I really felt betrayed. I felt like they lied to me, and I felt like it was on purpose.
And I really hate to say this, even if it comes around with a lot of patches that ends up being what they promise, no one's going to remember it for that.
No, it's already, they've already left their mark. And honestly, the game itself, despite the bugs and technical problems,
I like the world.
The world is good, and there are problems with the game itself, and we can get into that in a second here.
Yeah.
If they patch all the problems, I might play it a second time. It's worthy of a second playthrough to me personally because I did enjoy it enough.
But here's my thing, though.
But I still felt...
Even if they patch all the problems, it's still not what we were promised.
Exactly. I still feel betrayed a little bit.
Yeah, and CD Projekt Red, they, along with like Rockstar and Bethesda before...
We'll get into that.
But what I love about Bethesda is that they've always come out with buggy games, but people always loved them.
Yeah,
until recently.
Skyrim. So when Skyrim came out, I didn't play it at launch. I played it like 2 months later, 3 months later. Yeah. I remember what actually happened is it came out November 11th, 2011. I remember 11/11/11, right? And then it was maybe January. I had my Christmas money. I was in high school. I was like, this was junior, sophomore in high school. I don't remember what year it was. I think not junior. I mean freshman, sophomore in high school.
Yeah, you wouldn't have been a junior.
Yeah, I think I was a freshman.
Come on, you're not that old.
I think I was a freshman. And I had heard it was cool, but I had never played a Bethesda game before.
Oh, okay.
Skyrim was my first one, and then I went back and played all the other ones, which I adore.
For me, it was New Vegas, then Skyrim.
New Vegas is still, maybe with the exception of Skyrim, because of the nostalgia and just how much I played it when it came out. New Vegas is my favorite Bethesda game. It's Bethesda.
I don't really put it under that label. Yeah,
it's Obsidian.
It's Obsidian.
Yeah.
Bethesda just produced it and gave them the assets.
I remember I had my Christmas money, and my dad, I had an Xbox 360, and my dad's, his policy is I could play any game I wanted. He did not care. He's not one of those parents that limited what games I could play, but I had to buy them myself.
Okay.
He would never buy me a game other than maybe a Christmas gift.
Yeah.
So I had some Christmas money. I dragged him to Target to get a game because it was rated M, so he had to be there. And I was going to buy... I don't even remember what I was planning on buying. I was planning on buying a different game, and they had Skyrim on sale for $30.
Oh, nice.
And I was like,
Back then?
And I was like, I heard this is good. I'm going to get it. It was like a Target sale after New Year's type of thing.
I have things to talk about with Skyrim, but we can get to...
Apparently for the first 3 months, it was almost unplayable. I just played it after that, so I never experienced that.
At that point, I wasn't cynical enough to really care.
That's true. I was gonna put onto my list Assassin's Creed 3 because I played the remastered version on the Nintendo Switch and realized how buggy it is.
We will get to that.
But when I initially played it, I think it was before I was cynical and
Yeah.
I didn't care. So I wouldn't say it was disappointing.
Yeah, that era of like 2009 to 2012.
Yeah.
I
just didn't care about that stuff.
I was naive.
Yeah.
When I did
replaying Assassin's Creed Black Flag, which is one of my favorite games of all time, that is almost just as bad as Assassin's Creed 3 and
But it's pirates, so
but it's pirates
you
and
don't
it's
really
fun,
care.
and I adore that game. Yeah.
But I want to get back to Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Because my thoughts on the game is that, for one, it was in development since 2012.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Which there's nothing inherently wrong with that, but it was delayed, what, 3 times, 4 times?
Yeah, they said they first said they were developing it in 2012, and then it was like a few years later they announced it officially.
In like 2017, I think.
Well, yeah, and then
and then there was the E3.
It was they started working on 2012. They announced it. I think they intended on coming out with it even earlier than when they officially announced in 2017. But they didn't. They didn't officially delay it because they had never officially made an announcement.
I remember hearing about it a long freaking time ago.
Yeah, they had never committed to a date.
Right. Yeah.
So that doesn't count as a delay, I guess. And then 2017, 2018, something like that, and then it just dropped off the map for a couple years.
And it's funny because around that time, it was supposed to it was never confirmed, but it was supposed to be like around the corner.
Yeah. They were trying to do what Bethesda used to do of release a game 6 months after you announce it.
Yeah, and
and then 2019, they did E3 like, okay, it is finally here, guys. We're sorry, it's finally coming.
It was supposed to come out.
Keanu Reeves, you're beautiful or whatever.
You're beautiful.
What they called it? I don't remember. It wasn't beautiful.
I don't know.
I don't remember what it was. I remember watching that. I was
You're
stoked.
wholesome. I don't know what he said.
I remember watching that. I was stoked
Okay.
because they did a whole smoke fog reveal of Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, it was cool.
That was amazing.
And now it's like a joke. It's like is this like some sort of prank? But
to be fair,
I've heard rumors.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know if it's true, but I would not be surprised that the E3 demo that they show, or the gameplay reveal, was completely fabricated.
I've heard that too.
Because,
I don't want to believe it.
And a lot of game
developers
are starting to do this because a lot of people, complain, oh, it's just cutscenes. We don't want to see that. We want to see gameplay.
Yeah.
So now they're starting to get smart and just straight up lie by having pre-rendered gameplay.
I remember what they used to do is they did pre-rendered gameplay as a test footage thing.
Yeah.
But everyone knew it was a test footage. I remember with Assassin's Creed 3, they released, not like an E3, but they released their concept gameplay footage. And it was a concept gameplay. It was an animated thing that was supposed to look like gameplay, and it was for the developers when they're working on it to like, this is what we want it to look like.
Right.
But yeah, I've heard that that might have been fabricated. I don't want to believe it, but I can't not believe it.
Exactly.
I can't just pass it off.
If it would have turned out well, I wouldn't even questioned it. But
hold on.
Ooh, that was a good one.
Thank you.
But yeah, and then it was supposed to come out in March 2020.
Yeah.
Then it got delayed all the way. I think didn't it get delayed to like May or June?
I think it was like June or something like that.
And then it got delayed to September. We were like, okay, this is the last time. We're fine.
Yeah.
Well,
and see when they kept delaying this, I was one of those people that was trying not to get hyped about it until they started releasing those trailers of Keanu Reeves being like, "What's the difference between a normal what's the difference between a normal person and a criminal? Not getting caught." And they started releasing these trailers of Keanu Reeves and hyping it up, and I'll admit, I fucking fell for it. I got super hyped, and
me too.
And I pre-ordered it.
You're kind of partially the reason I fell for it as well. You got me hyped for it.
Yeah, I pre-ordered it a week before it came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I admit, like, I fell for the hype. Because the whole,
I
like,
did start getting suspicious when it got delayed like 3 times because
Yeah,
I was like, okay, yeah, you can be positive and be like, oh, they're just trying to make the game as good as possible. But most of the time, to be honest, when games or even movies are like delayed, it's probably because they're not releasable, like at all.
yeah. There,
And what's
there's
really
one game that's coming out soon that I'm really interested in because it's been delayed several times, but, well, it's not been delayed. It's more like they announced it and then dropped off the map for like 3 years.
and what's that?
Biomutant. That's coming out in May. They officially announced it like this week.
Oh, okay.
And
I know I've heard of it, but what is it?
it's this it's an open world RPG game, and it has this weird, like, you play as these little, like,
Oh, you're like animals. You're like furries.
yeah, you're like little rocket raccoons.
furries.
But like you're pandas and weird.
Oh, furries
and
are gonna love that.
And you do kung fu. And,
Also, if you're a
and
furry,
there's guns, and it looks really fascinating,
unique.
like unique and creative, and I'm really interested. But they did drop off the map for 3 years. They announced it like 3 years, like in 2017, as like this is going to come out soon, and they dropped off the map, and they just now announced it, and that makes me suspicious. I did hear an interview though, and the reason why they just dropped off the map and didn't do any press at all is their developer said in an interview, their lead developer said they had a lot of bugs to work out, and they didn't want to commit themselves to a release date, and so they could avoid crunch.
See, that's being honest.
It's being honest, and that makes me still interested in it.
Yeah.
But that is a game because it's because of Cyberpunk. I am not going to pre-order that.
And what's really concerning about Cyberpunk is that it was meant to be a current or last generation game.
Yeah.
And it's, for some people, I've heard you're lucky,
I've been lucky.
but for some people it's practically unplayable.
Yeah.
For me it wasn't that way, but it was a mess.
People talk about a lot of the bugs in it, and weirdly, and this is the same in general. Knock on wood.
You're just always lucky.
For myself. Whenever a really buggy game comes out and I play it, I never get the worst of the bugs. I never experience. When I played Assassin's Creed Unity, I actually love that game. I replayed it again recently. I really like that game. I think that game, if they gave it another year in development, could have been the best Assassin's Creed game.
I played it after it was a lot of patches came out.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
That helped.
I did too, but like I still got less bugs than you did. I didn't get the game-breaking bugs in Fallout 4.
Fallout 4, I was actually surprisingly lucky too.
I played that on launch night. I played that on 8 p.m.
And not all these,
California time when that.
not
came
all
out.
these games we're gonna talk about is because it's buggy.
Yeah, not all of them are buggy.
But this is the big buggy one.
No.
But yeah, it was Cyberpunk. It was meant to be released for current generation. It's horrible, especially on like PS4, not PS4 Pro. Like on the base PS4, it's shite. Luckily, I didn't have to experience that.
Yeah, I have a base, and that's the thing. I have a base Xbox One.
Yeah,
I don't have the more advanced one, whatever they call it.
I don't have
the Xbox Series X. I have the base one, and I still didn't experience the worst. Like I got it really easy compared to everyone. Enough where I could actually enjoy
I was
the game.
fortunate to actually grab a PS5. I've played it a little, but I'm gonna have to get into it again because it is way better. But it runs at 60 frames per second, all that. But it's just the magic's gone. I don't really want to play it.
And that's the thing. Like, I think
I will play it again at some point, but I don't have any urgency.
I've not quite finished the game. I am at the last mission.
Okay.
The point in the game where they say, where when you go to start the mission, they say, make sure to do all the open world stuff you want to right now because you can't go back. And I have not done the mission yet.
Yeah.
I've been playing other games. I stopped there and I'm like, I'll do that later. And I've been distracted.
Let's talk about why it's bad. My own experiences. So when I first got it, for one, the load times were atrocious.
Oh, yeah, they are They
I mean, I
updated.
kind of expected that.
But I played Skyrim on the Xbox 360, and that was the worst of the consoles for that.
Yeah.
And so I'm used to that.
No, I make a sandwich or
I
whatever.
swear there were
microwave something.
there were 5-minute loading screens on
Make
the
a
360
drink.
for Skyrim. It took me so long to beat Skyrim on the Xbox 360 because of the load times. I remember when I got a gaming PC. It was when the Xbox One came out. Instead of buying the Xbox One, I just switched to PC.
Yeah.
And I got Skyrim on that, and I was amazed by how loading screens didn't take minutes.
Probably not even without mods either.
Yeah.
But so when I first got the loading times was bad, but I was like, okay, whatever. But then I didn't immediately get any bugs. But the first one I got, it was kind of early. It was after the first mission when you rescue that lady. They're like harvesting their cybernetics.
Oh yeah.
Well, I got this message on my screen like saying warning, incoming, whatever, like police or I forgot it was in like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And it stayed on my screen the whole time.
See, I've gotten some of those.
I saved, I reloaded, I had to exit the game.
See, I've gotten a
reload the
couple
entire
of
game.
those HUD glitches, but I swear I didn't get one until I was 10 hours into the game.
Wow.
And every single one I've gotten, I just had to reload. I just had to quick save and then reload that quick save, and it was gone.
I got it within the first few hours.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. I got lucky. I don't know why. It's not like I believe everyone when they say they had these glitches, and the glitches I did get are not okay.
Yeah.
But like I didn't get that until I was like 10 hours into the game.
And it's funny. I didn't have any weird pop-in or like polygon NPCs for a while. Because I did the story for a while. The way the game is designed, it kind of makes it less obvious that's their side quest.
Yeah,
Like it kind of forces. It doesn't necessarily lock you in the story, but
I don't quite think that it makes it unobvious that there's side quests because I've played enough. So the way Cyberpunk does its like open world and its side quest is very like PC RPG. Like they expect you to figure that shit out yourself.
Right, and a game like Skyrim, it naturally leads you in that direction.
Skyrim is very well designed in that way.
Yeah, exactly. Because like after you're done,
we're not just talking about the compass that says go here.
No,
do
but
this,
like after you're done escaping the prison, and you're out of the cave, you're in the world,
and it naturally guides you in a way where you just run into an NPC and they say, "Oh, I have this quest for you."
Cyberpunk, I feel like you have to go more out of your way to actually do side quests. It's not a natural thing.
But there are other RPGs that do the same thing. I wouldn't fault it on that. I'm not going to fault it on that. I think they should have made it a little more.
Well, I'm not even faulting it on that at all. That's just kind of my fault not paying attention.
Yeah.
But here's my deal but playing the story, I had some frame rate drops, but nothing major. But then as soon as I did start exploring the world, I started noticing a lot of things.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of pop-in, a lot of NPCs would be polygons. Even when I go right up to them, it would still take a few seconds for them to load in.
I didn't get any of that with NPCs.
What?
No, I got no polygons with NPCs. There's only one time I saw T-poses in the whole game.
I never saw T-pose. That would have
been
fun.
I saw one time, and it was actually really funny. I don't remember what it was, but it was I don't know if you've done the taxi service Delamain, or is that how I don't remember what it's called exactly, but that taxi service, that's the AI taxi service. There's a quest line you can do for that later, where eventually you unlock one of those taxis as a personal vehicle.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's a pretty cool text. One of the great Easter egg I really appreciate is one of the quest sees you go, and about 5 of these AI taxis have gone rogue. And you have to track them down. Some of them are violent. Some of them are emotional, and you have to be a psychiatrist for them. It's kind of funny. And one of them is GLaDOS from Portal.
Oh, really?
The voice and everything. She even references the cake.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's
That's cool.
kind of fun. But
But the
during that, you have to go into the office of the AI and everything. And I remember going in, I was doing the quest. Went through the dialogue tree, and I turned around, and all the people in the lobby were in the T-pose, and I was like, "That's a little creepy."
Yeah, that's like frightening.
But that's the only time it happened to me.
I surprisingly didn't have any T-poses. But I did have a moment where I hijacked a car because you lose your car after the introduction.
If you wait a couple days, it comes back.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
See, I didn't play it enough. But
If you wait a couple days, it comes back. Yeah.
But I hijacked a car because I was kind of treating it like GTA. I was just going around, messing around.
Yeah.
Shooting people, But
Also, a hint for you
and
guys.
it's not GTA.
Hint for people
by the
at
way.
home playing, or for you if you keep playing it, if you decide to. Sorry. Motorcycles are way better than.
Oh no, they are. Yeah. The cars handle like bricks.
There is a mission. You get to inherit Jackie's motorcycle.
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool.
And it's the motorcycle I used through the entire game
I always wanted it.
until the other night I was playing it, and I actually went and bought a motorcycle.
But I hijacked this car, and the NPC didn't exit the car. It did an animation, but the NPC was still driving the car, and I literally clipped into the NPC, and when you're in first person, you see their teeth and their eyes, like behind their face.
Oh, I love those
Just like
types
floating teeth and eyes. And I did think it was funny, but I was like, wow, they actually released it like this?
That's the type of glitch where it's funny, but it's also not okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless it was supposed to be like an ironic game, but it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. They took it very seriously.
Yeah.
They were like, this is the spiritual successor, The Witcher 3, which
No,
is
it's
considered one of the best
It's not even
RPGs
on-
of the last generation.
It's not even on the same level as The
No,
Witcher 3.
Witcher 3 is one of my favorite games ever.
Yeah.
Geralt is
And it still holds up. And it came out in
Geralt's-
2014.
15.
But still.
Geralt of Rivia is my favorite video game protagonist, the only one who competes with him.
What do you think of Henry Cavill as him?
I love him.
I think he's great.
He's fantastic.
It's like video game to the screen, I think.
He is the perfect casting.
Not everything about that show is great, but he's one of the...
No, it has its flaws, but I enjoyed it. And the key thing is, even though they took influence from the video games, it's based
more
off of the books, not
yeah.
video games. And another thing people don't
The art design's more from the video games, I would say.
Yeah, the art, they took influence art design wise. And the other thing people don't realize about that whole dynamic is the video games are not canon.
Well, I mean,
In
no.
the Witcher universe. So basically,
They're only canon and...
side
their
tangent
own-
about The Witcher. The last book ends with, and in the video games, Geralt references this several times.
Okay.
The video games end with Yennefer and Geralt. They are they're, I don't remember what they were doing, but they're mobbed by a group of peasants. And Geralt and Yennefer both get killed. That's what happens in the last book at the end.
Oh, wow.
And then Ciri takes their bodies and takes them off to what's implied. It's really, really vague, and this was done on purpose by the author. It's implied to be like a heaven type of place.
Okay.
But the question is that are among fans that people debate, is this heaven like a literal heaven, like they are dead, or is this heaven like in Lord of the Rings,
Where you just go to a different continent.
Where you go to Valinor?
Yeah.
And the games, the first Witcher game, picks up assuming that conclusion, that they went off and were healed.
Okay.
And that's where the games are a what if,
Yeah.
assuming one of the theoretical endings to the book.
A sequel.
Yeah.
But
And that's
not
where
canon.
that's where the games pick up.
Yeah, okay.
The Witcher show is based off of the books. It's specifically first season is based off of one of the books is a group of short stories.
Oh, that's cool.
Which explains the weird time shift.
But back to Cyberpunk, I have I'll get to that. That'll be the last thing I do. But I've seen so many videos like comparing Cyberpunk to old games.
Yeah.
Like to GTA 5, GTA San Andreas.
It doesn't look good.
Not even just the looks. They're not going by looks. Obviously, it looks better in San Andreas when it's not just polygons.
I've
But-
played GTA 5 recently. Like the other night, I booted it up.
It's still a good looking game.
It looks better than Cyberpunk.
Well, yeah, GTA
Cyberpunk's-
5. Yeah.
Cyberpunk's world is more well designed
I saw
and immersive and
there's
stuff
a
like
mod
that.
for GTA 5 that makes it look like Cyberpunk.
That's great. No, but I just booted up vanilla GTA 5 on my Xbox One, and I am more impressed with the graphics on that than I am.
Well, I'm not
with
even
Cyberpunk.
I'm not even talking about graphics though. They compare physics.
Oh yeah.
So they showed a clip from GTA San Andreas, which came out in like 2003, 4, something like that.
I would have to look that up. I'll look that up.
Early 2000s. But they did a clip of CJ like jumping in the water, and like there's water physics. He like goes into the water and then comes out, he swims around. You see the water moving around, all that, the foam, all that. Cyberpunk.
2004.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk, you just fall in the water and like nothing happens.
Yeah, you're just
And then like when you fall from a big building, I don't know if this is in all versions or whatever, but I saw a clip. This guy jumped off this skyscraper in Cyberpunk just to show it. And his character model was literally standing still the whole time. But then like in GTA, even the old GTAs, their character models are like flailing around, freaking out.
to be fair, people comparing it to GTA, Rockstar has always been top of the
Just
industry.
details.
Well, top of the industry in like stuff like ragdoll physics
Yeah.
and stuff like that. They've always been the best of the best in that sort of
Yeah.
stuff. But still, your point stands. I
A
mean,
game that's
that points out there are
literally 15 years older has better physics.
yeah, and there are issues in the game that, despite the technical issues, like for example, the double jump perk. You
Oh,
get
it's
a-
broken.
It is.
You get in areas you shouldn't be in.
It is
and-
absolutely broken, both because of physics, like you were talking, just make it really obvious that they did not work on physics in the game. And then
No.
also like, it just makes it so easy to get into areas of the map that clearly the developers did not want you to go. And this is not exploiting the game.
No.
Like in Skyrim, do you remember where you can get to the merchant chests?
Yeah, you would have to like no clip and
Yeah,
like find a
that
spot.
was an exploit. This is not an exploit. It's just a perk that lets you do it.
Yeah.
And it's broken. Now, I do really like the double jump perk. It's very useful in combat and stuff. But
it's obvious that
still-
it wasn't meant to do that.
yeah, it's not meant to do that. And that is, that's just one of many issues despite technical issues.
But yeah, if you want to have if you want to have a laugh for about 10 to 15 minutes, look up a Cyberpunk glitch compilation.
Yeah, definitely. We should,
Real quick though, while we're on Cyberpunk,
okay.
I'm gonna read you. What's his name? Well, one of the co-developers put out this
yeah.
statement.
I think I saw this.
So okay, I'll just start it, and it already starts bad. I would say, dear gamers.
Okay.
I don't know. I just think that's kind of funny. I've actually watched the video, and it just comes. I can tell
The video is like, so good on them for coming out. Basically, it was one of the, not the developers, one of the marketers, marketing, and like co-CEO type of guys.
Yeah.
The guy that's one of the guys that are behind the decision, the business decisions of the company. not the development.
Yeah.
And they came out and he said, in a video on YouTube, he apologized and basically said like, it was our decision to release the game, not the developer.
Yeah, I have this.
Not the developer. Yeah.
So, dear gamers, we are committed to fixing bugs and crashes, and will continue to work and improve the game via future updates to make sure you are enjoying the game regardless of the platform. We will use the space to inform you about the progress being made on Cyberpunk 2077's further development, including information about updates, improvements, free DLCs, and more. Oh, that's not the personal explanation. Where is it? That's just like the website thing. I want the... Whatever. Basically, he was just like, it was not ready to come out.
He admitted, he basically admitted that they knew it wasn't ready, and that they decided to release it anyway.
Yeah.
But then he went on and kind of backhanded it a little bit and like gave all these reasons why it's a bad why it's a bad game and trying to make excuses. So like it's sort of thing where I do kind of admire that they did have the balls to come out, which like for example, Ubisoft didn't fucking do with Watch Dogs.
They never do.
Well, they did once. They did with with Assassin's Creed Unity.
Oh, well, that one was way more broken. So that makes sense.
Unity, they said this DLC we were going to charge $20 for, you can all have it for free.
I remember that. That was awesome.
It's actually better than the base game.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into that right now. But I admire that they came out and said, yeah, this is our fault. We fucked up. But it's too little too late.
And
it's just not.
It's obviously.
I don't need.
It's obvious that they made it for PC and just ported it to consoles without. Thinking about it.
And it's sort of thing where like we don't need them to apologize. We need them to fix it.
And the thing is though, I've even heard unless you have like a top of the line high end PC,
it still struggles on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Cyberpunk 2077 was kind of a disaster and a funny way to end 2020 in the gaming world.
This is kind of the main reason we did this episode.
Yeah.
But we'll move on to some other games though.
I have a game that I played.
Yeah.
That you haven't. Thankfully.
I think I know what you're going to say.
Okay, so let me just explain. I played the beta, and I actually enjoyed the beta. Because the beta is just a small portion of
from what you've told me about the beta of this game, and what other people said, it sounds like to me, from an outsider, that it was very misleading of them to release that as a beta and then sell you this full game that was such a disappointment.
Kind of. It's kind of the reverse of that.
Yeah.
But I'll get to my explanation. But so the Avengers game, it already had bad press when the first trailer came out because of the character designs.
I remember that.
I was like, oh, they can fix that. That's whatever. You'll have different costumes.
Yeah.
I
remember seeing that and be like, the characters look stupid. But
especially Black Widow.
But especially Black Widow and Thor. Thor in the trailer looked like he was wearing a damn costume.
Like from Party City.
Yeah. But I remember seeing that being like,
and then Iron Man, he wasn't horrible. He was just so generic.
It was this
and like MCU, but
it was
not.
This result of the MCU characters being so iconic that they want to mimic that design, but they can't use the likeness, and that is always a recipe for disaster.
I mean, if I would have it rather be like a tie-in game at that point. At least have the real designs.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, use Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Hemsworth.
That would be cool. But
but then they would have to pay them a bunch of money. And
so that came out, and a lot of mixed reviews already.
By the way, I really like this peanut butter stout.
Cool. Yeah, I like it too.
I'm super. I mean, I don't think it's so amazing. I would buy a 6-pack.
Right.
But if I were at a pub and it was on a tap.
Oh, I would have it for fun.
I would absolutely get a pint of
a pretzel or something. That'd be nice.
Yeah. Anyway, continue.
It's very peanut butter forward.
You know, that's what they called me in high school.
That's never gonna go away.
No,
that was my joke too, but you can use it freely.
Yeah, well,
anyone that's on here.
It would have been weird if you just made the joke off of your own set.
Yeah, like what's that?
Yeah. That would be like.
No, I'm glad you
jumped in. That would be
in.
like if I made the joke where like, hey, being in Colorado this last week, there was snoo outside. What's snoo? Oh, not much. What's snoo with you?
Shut up.
That would be really weird if I did that just by myself.
If you didn't say anything, I was gonna say it just very awkwardly. But
anyway, continue. Avengers.
I'm just thinking about. Okay, Avengers. So I played a beta. It was fun. I thought the beta was a fun time. It was a small aspect of the game. You just fight a bunch of robots. You test out the combat abilities. See some of the different skins. So I was like, okay, this can be something. But then the game came out. And let me talk about the positives first, because I always
that was the punchline. The game came out.
Let me talk about the positives. I always like touching on the positives first, if possible. And there is positives to this. I like that Kamala Khan's the main character. The new Ms. Marvel. She's got like the stretchy powers.
Yeah.
She's like the first Muslim American superhero.
She's a great character.
She's a really cool character.
Yeah, I love her.
I like.
That's the version. That's the version they use in Lego Marvel superheroes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like in general the story. It's a bit generic, but it suits it. She goes through this journey. She becomes an Avenger in the end. It's about her growth and getting the Avengers back together. Because there's this big event in the story where the Golden Gate Bridge and stuff in San Francisco's.
I'm kind of familiar with this.
It's like blown up with like Kree radiation.
Yeah, I'm a little.
Terrigen mist.
I'm a little bit familiar.
And that's how
with
she
the
gets her
story.
powers, from the Terrigen crystals and all that. And then San Francisco is like a kind of in ruins. So that starts, and then she goes on this mission. She brings the Avengers together eventually. And it does have a rewarding ending, I would say. Because, well...
Nowadays it seems like a lot of games, when it comes to story content, a rewarding ending is the best you can ask for.
And it generally looks fine. I don't have any complaints on the graphics
and that
department.
is a burn on a lot. That is a burn on a lot of modern games.
Yeah. I don't have any complaints on the graphics department. It's fine. It's what it should be.
From what I've seen, it looks okay. It's a flashy game.
So after you're done with the story, and there's only 3 villains in the game, in an Avengers game.
Who?
You have the entire Marvel universe at your disposal, and you only have 3 villains, and you pick like not good ones.
Who are the villains?
Taskmaster, which they showed in the E3 demo. He's fine.
He's okay.
But not until you fight him for the 20th time and the looting, like, dungeon missions.
And also, you have Taskmaster against the whole Avengers.
No, yeah, because like when you're when you're playing online on those missions, you have Thor and Iron Man, and
that's not a cool.
Taskmaster's like hard.
Taskmaster.
Thor would kill him in 2 seconds.
Taskmaster is like Captain America and Black Widow, and Captain America wouldn't have a super hard time with him.
No, not generally.
No. But I mean, Taskmaster is smart enough where he could put up some.
Well, because he can replicate your moves and stuff.
Yeah, but that's the highest tier level that Taskmaster could take on is Captain America.
So,
and that's pushing it.
He could take on like Iron Man and stuff, but when you have Thor in the picture and Hulk, that's just
no.
Get out of here.
Taskmaster.
It's like I'm throwing
against Hulk.
Well, I'm like throwing the Mjolnir at him 100 times and he's not dying. Like, come on.
Well, so isn't Taskmaster going to be in the new Black Widow movie?
Yeah, and he's a cool villain.
So how hilarious would it be if it gets to the big climax and then the Hulk just jumps in and just beats him? I mean...
And because of the timeline, it wouldn't be Professor Hulk either.
Yeah. This would take place while Hulk's on Sakaar, though, right?
But portals, whatever. Doctor Strange would bring in Hulk. It'd be like,
Yeah.
beat this prick up. Like
Doctor Strange shenanigans. They can explain anything away with that.
Or Wanda shenanigans.
Or Wanda.
You gotta watch this shit. We're gonna talk about it, but you gotta watch it first.
I'll watch it and then we'll do an episode.
Yeah,
on it.
yeah. After it's all done.
When the season's over, we'll do an episode. Yeah.
And Mandalorian will be doing that too soon.
Yeah.
So don't worry.
We'll do that.
So yeah, Taskmaster, and then you have Abomination, which he's fun enough, but he's also a very generic Marvel villain.
Yeah, I don't like Abomination.
He's just bad Hulk.
He's just bad Hulk, who is his base level is stronger, but he doesn't get stronger as he gets angrier.
No, he's just like really strong, but that's like about it.
Yeah. The only thing I like about Abomination is the fun fact that technically in the Marvel universe, in the MCU universe, he's still out there somewhere.
Oh yeah,
and they've just never addressed it. Really?
I think they're gonna bring it back in She-Hulk.
I really hope they do.
But She-Hulk is supposed to be like a comedy, like Law and Order type thing.
So sounds actually pretty fun.
Maybe he'll be in court.
Law and Order with Abomination and She-Hulk.
Because she's a lawyer.
That sounds great.
But She-Hulk was actually the first character to break the fourth wall, not Deadpool.
Really?
Yeah, like in her comics in the 70s, she would like punch like advertisements and do stuff like that. Yeah.
That's funny.
And she was Stan Lee's last creation. Well, Marvel creation.
She-Hulk's pretty cool.
But anyways,
but yeah.
Don't let me get on a She-Hulk tangent.
I'm sure you would love.
And then there's MODOK.
She-Hulk
There's MODOK.
MODOK is
cool villain. He's a classic Avengers villain.
Okay, so MODOK is
But he's just a big head in a chair.
Yeah, see, the MODOK is a classic, but
I wanted Doctor Doom, or I wanted...
MODOK is a classic, but I don't think he's that cool.
No.
No.
He's a big head in a chair.
You know, I was playing recently Marvel's Lego Marvel Superheroes 2 because it was on sale for like $5.
Oh, he's funny in that game, though.
And MODOK is a villain that they demote him to
he's a joke.
One mission where you just punch him a bunch of times and he's done.
Because that's kind of all you need to do.
Because that is MODOK. It's the Wild West mission, which is the it's the lamest mission in the whole. It's the Guardians of the Galaxy with She-Hulk. Those are the characters you're playing as. And then Old West Captain America, which was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
And Kid Colt, that was pretty cool that they included all that.
Yeah, but anyways, that's a good game.
But they demoted.
No good game.
They demoted him to just the Guardians and She-Hulk kick the shit out of him in a saloon. That's that type of villain.
Anyways, he's the last villain. There is a surprise villain in it, and I think at this point no one cares. So I'm just gonna say
no one cares. I don't care. I'm not going to play it.
And anyone that did care already did that months ago. So,
spoilers. You should know this by now if you listen to us.
It's not like a major... It's not a named villain or anything, but you fight... MODOK releases a Kree sentry bot. And it's like humongous, and it's cool.
That sounds like a cool boss fight.
And it's like, oh, I wish we would have got that the whole game.
Was it a good boss fight?
Yeah, it was fun. You switch around between like different characters.
I was going to say, like, that sounds like at most a good boss fight.
No, like the story, if the story was longer and had more characters, I think it would be a way better game. But then you're done with the story, and then it's just looter shooter, but not good.
Yeah.
Because there's only 2 characters that you really want to play as. Maybe 3. I would say 3. But like Hulk, he's very basic. He just punches things. And that's what he does. And this is not the right kind of game for him. Like Hulk Ultimate Destruction, I wish they would come out with a remake or remaster of that.
I loved that game.
That's one of the best superhero games ever. It
was amazing.
Because it's just exactly what... It's Hulk Simulator.
Yeah, and now that's all you want.
Yeah, I wish I could have that game somehow.
God.
But
let's buy a PS2
or like an Xbox 360
or whatever that came out on.
Yeah,
and buy that game. Let's do an episode on.
I'd be so happy
old games.
Yeah,
that would be fun.
And then Black Widow, she has guns and she sucks. Thor's fun. It's really stupid when you play as him because you're fighting like just little aim droids and they take a while to kill. It's like, I'm Thor. Come on. And yeah, you upgrade and level up and get good gear. And then Captain America's the funnest character in my opinion to play as.
Oh yeah.
He has the funnest combat. Now it's hard for him to get around like big open spaces, because he just like runs. But his shield's fun. You bounce it around. It's fun. And then Iron Man, he's the most technical one, which makes sense. You have all the different weapon choices.
What I've heard and from what I've heard and from what you're saying, it sounds like this. It's the basis for a really good game.
Yes, but then they just
fucked it up.
You beat the story, which is like only like 8 hours long.
It's almost like what I've heard. What I've heard is almost like and
it's not buggy really or anything.
Yeah, well, what I've heard is it feels like it was intended to be a cool single player game, and then at some point in the development process, the studio execs stepped in and said,
it needs to be a looter shooter.
This needs to be like Destiny.
Yeah. And I was into Destiny for a little while. So that's why I gave this game a chance.
I've never played it.
But
although I've heard it's good, I'm a huge fan of Bungie. They did the original Halo games.
But the game, it's nothing.
Yeah.
You just fight in aim labs all the time and a bunch of robots, and that gets old really fast. And then you fight Taskmaster like 200 times. That's it. Now they did one thing that I do appreciate is that all the new characters are going to be free updates and all that.
Well, that's good at least.
But guess what? The first character, think about it, in a game that is lacking any kind of roster, it's only like 4 Avengers or 5, whatever.
Ooh. What's the first character they're introducing? Let me guess.
Not Hawkeye.
Oh, that would have been a good guess. Hold on.
Kate Bishop Hawkeye.
Oh,
which he's a cool character and all. I like the Mac Fraction run.
yeah,
Um,
but not real Hawkeye.
Well, he's like in it. He's gonna be the next one maybe, but
They can't release 2 Hawkeyes in a row.
out of all the characters,
That would be stupid.
out of all the Avengers characters that they have available, the first one they do is an Archer.
That's
We couldn't get Black Panther. We couldn't get Captain Marvel. We couldn't get
Hawkeye.
even Moon Knight or something.
Hawkeye really is a character. I do really like Hawkeye. I like
Yeah.
him in the comics. I like him in the MCU. I like Jeremy Renner. He's fantastic. But he's Hawkeye.
He's nothing.
He's a
Guy with a bow and arrow.
He's a circus performer with a bow and arrow.
And he's not like Batman with a bow and arrow.
No.
He's skilled.
Well, I was talking about,
but he's
my girlfriend is a huge DC fan, and
Yeah.
she loves Green Arrow, which admittedly I do like Green Arrow. More
Green
than
Arrow's
Hawkeye. And I was talking to her about it. I'm like, the main difference between Hawkeye and Green Arrow is that Green Arrow is rich and can afford his gadgets.
Hawkeye just gets him from Shield.
And Hawkeye just gets him from S.H.I.E.L.D. But that I guess that makes Green Arrow automatically better because Green Arrow is independent.
Hawkeye proves that in the Mac Fraction run that I
That's
talked
true.
about.
Yeah.
Because there's this one scenario where he's like, he has a bunch of his joke arrows. They're the only ones he has.
Oh yeah.
Like he has the boxing glove one and stuff like that, and that's what he's left with
That sounds fun.
against like a militia.
That sounds like a fun.
And it's the Mac Fraction run is like a realistic take,
but
grounded.
that sounds like.
But
a
then he's
fun
stuck with all his
sequence,
stupid
yeah.
arrows.
Yeah.
And I heard the show's gonna be based off of that.
What's actually really cool with Hawkeye, what I do like as a character, is in the comics he's deaf, or at least almost.
Yeah, he loses his hearing over time.
Which is just like I think it's a really cool.
Because all the sonic arrows, I think he uses.
Yeah, I think it's just a kind of a neat addition to the character.
And he's just a regular man.
Yeah, he is a regular man. He's. I was talking to Cole, my girlfriend, and it's basically him and Green Arrow. They're basically the same character except for background reasons. But they are the peak of human ability.
But not really, though.
But they are still just a normal human.
Like Green Arrow's still not as good as Batman.
Well, no.
Hawkeye's definitely not as good as Captain America.
I mean peak of human ability, not in martial arts and stuff like that. I mean
just like in shape.
physically.
Yeah.
And a big thing that both characters share is they're supposed to be like world-renowned gymnastics.
And I hate to
people.
say,
Like
and I'm
they're-
not trying
like
to.
they're really good acrobats.
I'm not trying to bash on Jeremy Renner, but do you look at that guy and like, oh, that's the peak human being?
No.
No, he looks like a dad.
Especially, and I hate
The haircut.
I hate. Okay, I'm gonna bring it up because I've never brought this up before to anyone. That scene in Endgame where they're talking about where after they brought back everyone, they got the Infinity Stones and they're getting ready to bring back everyone, and they're on the lake and they're talking about, and he was like, I tried to bring her back. And then he slips into that really heavy, like, New York, Boston accent.
Well, I guess it makes sense.
I can't get over that because it doesn't make him sound...
Because he lives in Missouri?
Yeah, it doesn't
I
work
don't
for the
know.
scene, and it really has always bothered me because it always seemed inappropriate for the scene because he doesn't have that accent the rest of the time.
No. It's just Jeremy Renner slipping, I think.
Yeah, it was just him slipping, and it doesn't match the scene. It doesn't match his character, and it just has always bothered me. And I think it hurts the character.
Well,
a little
whenever
bit.
there's like gods and aliens attacking Earth, I'm like, just leave.
Yeah, he's on top of the building in Avengers.
You
just
have a
shooting
wife,
arrows
you
at
have a
people.
family, and
Yeah.
you're literally fighting a guy that
He
can,
actually has the most to lose out of all
yeah,
the Avengers.
and you're literally fighting a guy that could kill you in like a millisecond.
Yeah, I understand why he skipped out on like Infinity War.
Well, here's the Thanos wasn't trying to kill a bunch of the Avengers during that,
Yeah,
but he would have killed Hawkeye just
He would've
unintentionally.
just, like yeah,
He would just like bump
like,
into
I
him, and
understand.
Hawkeye would have had like 80
He
broken
is
bones.
One of the only Avengers that actually has stuff to lose. He has a family.
Yeah, until Stark has his daughter, and
Yeah, until Endgame.
because no one else. Yeah, but anyways, getting back to the game.
Anyway, yeah, we're
the
getting
Avengers was just. Well, it wouldn't be the Odd Joke podcast if we didn't get on side tangents with it. But
of course,
it's a nothing game. You do the same thing over and over to get gear that makes you more powerful, to do the same thing over and over to get gear that makes you more powerful. And then real quick, let me touch on the skins. There's some good ones in there, but they're not directly the comic books. They're always like their version of it.
Yeah.
Which is not as good usually.
So there's not fan service.
There's not any movie skins.
There's no fan service in there. It's just okay developer.
Because the Spider-Man game, which is an amazing superhero game, one of the best.
It's the only reason It's the main reason I am jealous of PlayStation. Because of that game.
Oh, and the new Miles Morales one.
Oh, because I played the original one on when we lived together. And
but that game,
it's so good.
Besides the black suit, because they're saving that, you could have you had every major Spider-Man suit. I mean, not every. There's so many, but you had all the movie suits.
You had Spider-Man 2099.
They just came out with the Amazing Spider-Man suit.
I was about to say 2077.
No, don't do that.
They don't want that.
Don't drag them down. Except there is a Cyberpunk suit you get in Miles Morales, which has to be like a nod. It's like, look at our better game.
Is it just the skin of Keanu Reeves?
That'd be good.
But not him as Johnny Silverhand, just Keanu Reeves.
Just the skin, too.
Yeah.
Don't animate the mouth or anything.
Yeah.
No, but
it's Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, and the Spider-Man game for PS4 and now the remaster version, which I love because it's like a whole new game. But you had all these movie skins and comic book skins. And yeah, they were adapted for the game, but they didn't really, they just made them fit in that world.
Yeah.
In this, you get vague comic book skins. And then you have all these avatars.
Like if you know the comics well, you can see what they're trying to reference.
Yeah. And Iron Man, he has the best ones, I would say. Because Iron Man is the coolest looking one.
Iron Man.
And then Thor does have a Viking one, which is pretty cool.
Iron Man naturally, I feel, would have the best skins. Just because of the nature of he has a bunch of suits and stuff.
Yeah. But the fact that they didn't have any movie skins in that baffles me because that's what everyone wants.
Yeah.
And they even have the movie versions of some of the characters on the calling cards.
And that's the thing, I don't quite understand.
And also these emotes.
I don't understand try to make it why they couldn't do that.
But the game
because they have Disney and Marvel backing them, so copyright isn't an issue.
But it's Square Enix, Colton. And they're known for kind of being shady about their games. They prioritize certain games, Final Fantasy. And even that, Final Fantasy VII Remake, we could talk about a little bit. I didn't play it, but it's sort of a disappointment.
Well, I've heard the opposite. Basically, so we'll touch on it real quick right now. And I'll just try to...
I'll tell you why some people consider it a disappointment.
Well, okay, so I kind of know some of it. So some people consider it a disappointment because they changed so much about the core gameplay.
The gameplay, and not even that, but they only released one chapter, and they priced it for $60.
Yeah, but
besides that, I heard it's great.
There are a lot of people I've heard that adore that remake. They say it's the best.
No, it looks good.
There are people I've heard that are hardcore Final Fantasy fans that are like, this is the best thing to come out of the last generation. This generation.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a disappointment, but it's kind of.
It's in a weird category there.
Some people think it was it shortchanged.
Yeah,
I've
not played it. I'm honestly not a Final Fantasy fan. I mean, they're good games.
I like the older ones.
They're good. Yeah, I like the old ones. I played a couple of them on the SNES Classic.
Yeah.
That was fun.
But the Avengers game, it's not a bad game. It's not a good game. It's overwhelmingly mediocre, which is even worse than being a bad game almost.
Yeah.
Because no one's going to remember it for being bad, per se. No one's definitely going to remember it for being a good game. It's just, it exists.
It just is there. It's going to be forgotten.
I mean, unless
It's gonna be unless
if I want to play an awesome Marvel game that has a bunch of characters, I'm gonna play Marvel Ultimate Alliance, and that's a 18-year-old game.
That's a fantastic game.
So
Yeah, I've played that. It's really good.
I mean, yeah, I wish we could get a game.
I mentioned earlier, I've been playing Lego Marvel Superheroes 2.
That's a better Avengers game,
That is a really good Avengers game.
or Marvel, whatever you want to call it. It's just we were expecting Marvel Ultimate Alliance, but with deeper combat, and that is not what we got.
Yeah,
And I pre-ordered it,
yeah. On the topic of pre-orders, I have a game here.
and I also pre-ordered
And it's-
Cyberpunk. So
Yeah, I pre-ordered Cyberpunk.
we're both losers.
And the other game I pre-ordered on this list.
Would you have bought Cyberpunk after the release?
No.
Damn.
Even though
That's
I have
a lot
enjoyed
coming
it,
from you.
I enjoyed it enough where I didn't, when they said they were going to give refunds to anyone, I didn't take that up. I said, actually, I'm going to keep playing
You
it.
might as well keep it now.
I enjoy it just enough to play it and enjoy it. I appreciate the good parts about it. But on the other game I pre-ordered, that I wouldn't say it was quite a disappointment. And I'll tell you why. Because I didn't expect it to be amazing. Watch Dogs Legion.
Yeah, I haven't bothered with that one yet.
Yeah, so Watch Dogs Legion. So let's start. This requires a whole synopsis of the Watch Dogs trilogy to understand why
Let's go back to the first Watch
the
Dogs.
first Watch Dogs, which was also a disappointment.
That was a genuine
It
disappointment.
was a genuine disappointment. I still enjoyed parts of it.
Oh, me too.
I saw
And it had a good soundtrack. Actually,
when it had a great soundtrack. Yeah,
had like Weezer.
when I played all the Watch Dogs, the second one had Dead Kennedys and Social
Oh
Distortion.
wow.
And the third one has Frank Turner.
So soundtrack's good.
Yeah, they've always had good soundtracks. Oh, the third one, the Watch Dogs Legion, automatically gains points. It has Stiff Little Fingers on the soundtrack.
I don't think it's quite GTA Radio.
No.
But it's pretty
GTA does a
good.
great job. But they had Alternative Ulster, Stiff Little Fingers on the soundtrack. That made me super excited. I'm a diehard Stiff Little Fingers fan.
Yeah.
And you never hear them anywhere on soundtracks ever.
No. Yeah.
But anyway, the first Watch Dogs, I mean, if you know anything about games, we don't really need to go into too much detail on why, on like the lead up. But basically,
Here, I'll do a quick thing.
Yeah, do your thing.
Basically, the E3 footage showed like amazing graphics, like for the time and still for now. Tons of great lighting, tons of NPCs, like bustling city, GTA level, like open world. And then when it came out, it was nothing like that, and it was empty mostly, and not a ton to do besides the missions, and
Also,
it looked bad.
Also, so not only the graphical downgrade,
So
but they also hyped up the and the way they explained the hacking elements as like this free-form hacking. It was not free-form at all.
no, the hacking is basically like in a game. Whenever you get a special ability, that's basically what the hacking is. It's not like you can just like hack into anything.
You
and do
can't.
anything.
Yeah, the only anything you can hack into that you can do freely is security cameras.
And that's boring.
Yeah, and But one thing they did cool was they added a thing where you can scan other people's phones and find out information about them.
That is cool.
And it was cool. And they expanded that on the sequel, Watch Dogs 2. So Watch Dogs 1 was a disappointment. I played it. I saw it as this is kind of disappointing, but there is a foundation here for something.
With it.
I had fun with it. There was a foundation for something really cool.
But then again, that's not really because of Watch Dogs itself. I'll have fun with any GTA like.
Yeah, I like.
You
that
know what I
style.
mean?
Yeah, but Watch Dogs, I had fun with it, and it made me go, well, this is a good foundation. They just didn't pull it off.
Right.
And then Watch Dogs 2 came out, and Watch Dogs 2 was fantastic. The open world is vibrant in San Francisco. It's actually one of my favorite open world cities in any video game.
And
There's
one of my favorite cities.
Yeah,
so.
same. Yeah, I love San Francisco in real life. And there's so much to do in the open world. The characters are energetic and exciting, and they expanded on the
It's fun.
it's
Colorful. It takes itself less seriously.
Yeah, it's fun. It's colorful. It's interesting.
Because Aiden Pierce was always brooding.
He is one of the guys.
I don't think he was a terrible character, but
he wasn't awful, but he's the classic example of a mistakes brooding for a personality.
yeah.
So like Watch Dogs 2 was really good. The story was okay. The story was okay, although the climax is a little disappointing. Do you mind a spoiler?
Well, from what I've heard from you is that all the quests and everything is just disjointed.
It does feel a little disjointed at times, and that's my main complaint. There's 2 complaints I have about this. It feels a little disjointed, the quest. It kind of sends you on side tangents that are the main quest, and it has side quests. But it has parts of the main quest that feel like side quests.
Yeah, and you don't want that.
And then you're like, what am I? And you're doing these quests, and you're like, what am I doing? Is this a... Whoops. Anytime... It has points where, like, you're doing a quest, and I'm unsure if this was a main quest or a side quest, and that's bad.
By the way, I just been staring into Danny DeVito's eyes this whole time.
Oh, yeah.
And he's staring back.
There's a connection there. So it's a little disjointed. And the other issue is that in Watch Dogs 2, you play as a character who is a good person. It's the type of person that wouldn't kill a cat. It wouldn't kill a freaking gerbil.
But then you kill a lot of people.
But then you kill a lot of people. And it encourages you to kill people because the combat is really good. Also, back to Watch Dogs 1, I've replayed it recently after watching a YouTube video. If you were to replay it full lethal. Kill everyone.
Well, Aiden Pierce would kill people.
Yeah. And I'll tell you why. Because Watch Dogs 1 had a slow motion.
He's an angry dad.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
He's an angry dad. Angry uncle.
Oh, yeah, angry uncle. Sorry.
Yeah. But no, Watch Dogs 1 has really badass kill animations, and it has a slow motion mode, like a bullet time mode. And if you play it that way, ignore the hacking, ignore the stealth, play it
as a shooter.
It's a John Wick simulator.
Oh yeah, yeah. That is how I kind of played
it.
It's
actually,
to be honest,
it's actually awesome.
I only hacked when I needed to, or if I was like in a car chase, like due to traffic lights.
But in Watch Dogs 2, you play as a character who wouldn't kill a fly.
But then you kill hundreds of people.
But you kill a lot of people. And it never, ever recognizes that. And that's a problem thematically. And that's one thing I admired about Watch Dogs 1 is there was a mission where you go to save your what's the boy version of a niece?
A nephew. Wow.
I'm sorry. You go to save your nephew, and you kill all the people.
You know they say it's nephew, but I think it should be Noise.
Noise. But you go to save your nephew's been kidnapped by the bad guys, and you go to save him, and you kill a bunch of people. Noise. You know
that guy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
But you go to kill a bunch of people, and you kill all the people in the base, or I think it's like a boat or something that he's being held. And you go and you open the door, and you realize he's been in the room with the security cameras.
Yeah, and he sees all of it.
And he saw you kill everyone.
I remember that. I thought that was cool.
I thought that was a really good addition because it recognized the fact that Aiden Pierce is a murderer.
But then in the next couple, they just never acknowledge it.
They never acknowledge it. And that leads, so like Watch Dogs 2 was an improvement on everything except for the story was a little disjointed, and the game didn't react to your character decisions very well. But it was otherwise a really fun game.
Excuse me.
But Watch Dogs Legion, they took that whole, like we mentioned earlier, looking and analyzing NPCs to see what they're doing and what their life is like, which was a cool feature.
And you play as NPCs.
And you made it so you analyze NPCs, and if they're cool enough, you recruit them, and you can play as them, which is a really cool feature. But Watch Dogs was not the right franchise for it. It's a really cool feature, and I hope Ubisoft holds on to that idea and uses it for something else.
Yeah, maybe you recruit assassins or something. That'd
Yeah.
be cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways that could work really well. But Watch Dogs Legion, the reason I say it was a little bit disappointing because I'm really not super impressed with it. But I recognized from the beginning before I pre-ordered it that idea might lead to this. So I expected it to possibly be underwhelming, and it was. So I wouldn't say it was a huge disappointment.
Why?
Because what happened is exactly what I feared. They're taking away a main protagonist from a series that has always had a main protagonist.
And that makes sense, and that kind of destroys the story.
And that destroys the story, because in Watch Dogs
Is
Legion,
there even a story?
there is. But what happens when you're playing story missions,
You're like the NPC.
well, what happens is either the story missions go one of two ways. Either they try to make you the main character and like treat you like a main character, but you don't have a personal connection to the character you're playing.
Because you're always playing someone different.
Because you're playing something different, or it's just an NPC you pull off the streets. I try my best to play as the same character every single time I do a mission.
But that's not what the game wants you to do.
Unless I need another character for their perks or their skills, which is a really cool thing. The actual open world of Watch Dogs Legion is fantastic. Recruiting NPCs is a really cool, fun feature.
And it's in London.
And
so
it's
that's
the
cool.
missions are pretty fun. The gameplay is really good. They did a really good job with the atmosphere of it's almost dystopian. With like,
but not quite.
but not
just like,
quite. They did a really good job with that. It's just that when you're playing the missions, it either is like tries to make you feel like a main character, but you don't have the personal connection, so you don't care, or it recognizes that you're not a main character, which also results in you don't have a personal connection. It's just like you don't care about any of the story missions.
with any type of media, game, movie, if you can't get the consumer, the audience, to care,
Yeah. And
then what's the point?
And that's the issue with Watch Dogs Legion. The gameplay is really fun. In fact, you know how I mentioned how Watch Dogs 1 you can make it John Wick?
Yeah.
You can recruit certain characters with skill there's a certain skill that they have. I think it's like the professional hitman has this skill in Watch Dogs Legion where they have John Wick animations. Like
gun fu.
Like gun fu stuff. Like they grab the guy and shoot him 3 times through the chest and then knock him out and then shoot the other guy. It's badass.
You know, there's a John Wick game.
But it's not.
like a-
But it's not. But it's not. It doesn't make you feel like John Wick as much as Watch Dogs Legion.
Right,
does.
yeah.
Yeah. It really makes you feel like a damn badass. But the gameplay, everything about the gameplay in Watch Dogs Legion is fantastic. But they just failed to make you care at all
Yeah.
about the game. I don't care about Watch Dogs Legion one bit. Like the missions are like whatever. They're an
Then how are you going to be invested to finish that game?
exactly, and I haven't
That's the
yet.
problem.
I got distracted by Cyberpunk and then Assassin's Creed Valhalla. You know, I've not played it in a couple months because
Yeah.
the only reason to play that game is to be John Wick. And my character doesn't look like John Wick. He's a fucking nerd. Because you can't customize your characters when you recruit them.
So you just
You can customize their clothing, but not
Okay.
their look. You can't change their hairstyle. So I have a character who I had a character who looked like fucking Jason Statham. It was awesome.
Oi, mate.
I was super.
I'm Jason Statham.
Yeah, I was super excited to recruit him because he looked like he was bald. Looks like Jason Statham, had a suit and tie.
Have you seen the Meg?
And he had the gung fu stuff.
I'm in the Meg.
It was awesome. But then I got that character killed because I'm playing on permadeath mode.
I'm a paleontologist. Wait,
But-
I kind of turned into.
Yeah.
I turned into Christopher Walken. That's
I
into
would
that.
I would try to do
I'm a paleontologist. I'm Christopher Walken.
I would try to do a Jason Statham accent, but I'm afraid I would fuck it up because I know what accent.
It's like Cockney.
It's the accent. Remember when I did the Elder Scrolls D&D? I did the Dark Elves. That's Jason Statham. I'm gonna
Do it. Just try.
when you're playing. No, I can't do it right now.
I'm in the mood.
I can't do it right now.
Oi, I'm in the movie The Meg. Have you seen The Meg yet?
The Meg.
Meg.
The Meg.
Meg.
It's like
I'm 6'3". I'm Jason Statham. I'm Christopher Walken playing Jason Statham in The Meg. Have you seen The Meg?
I've not seen the Meg. See, like I can do.
Why?
I can do it.
Why did my voice go to Christopher Walken?
I don't know. And see,
It
like
just
I can
did.
do a vaguely British accent, but the problem is I have very little control.
Well, he has like
over-
a very specific.
He has.
It's not quite just like.
It has that London. See, not
It's
that,
not quite
It's
that,
not
though.
that London accent though.
No.
That London accent like that. Like it's not quite that.
It's like a serious version of that.
Yeah, it's like the Dark Elves from Skyrim.
But yeah, Jason Statham. You're
No,
not,
no, you know what? It's Delvin Malroy in the Thieves
Also,
Guild.
Jason Statham, you're not 2 inches shorter than The Rock. You're probably like a head shorter than The Rock. So stop pretending. And Tom Cruise, I'm looking at you.
You know what, Jason Statham?
I'm not even that tall, and I'm taller than you, Tom Cruise.
You know, it's Tom Cruise ain't quite as he's a fucking short little
Twat.
twat. He's a fucking
Twat.
short little cunt. I mean, I'm sorry, Tom. I don't want to. I didn't mean to call you a cunt. That's just it was impersonation. Tom, I think you're a wonderful.
Have you
person.
seen his teeth, though?
Yeah, he has one middle one. Tom, if you're listening, we love you.
But do we?
Top Gun is awesome.
It is. Okay, Top Gun is good.
I love that I love that you do all your stunts.
I want to like Tom Cruise.
I think you're absolutely insane.
He's insane. You know what?
Um,
I'll give him. You know what?
but
You
I
know
don't-
why I still like him, even though he's insane?
Why?
Because
Because he's insane.
yeah, basically
He's insane in the cool way. He's insane in the way of
like Nick Cage.
he's
He's insane.
in Mission Impossible, the newest Mission Impossible, when he's hanging off that side of the airplane.
He's insane.
He was actually hanging off the side of it. You know, in Top Gun, in the new one, he's actually flying the jets. Tom Cruise became a pilot.
Got a pilot license and
And
learned how to fly.
He knows how
F-16s.
to fly a fucking F-16. And
That's
you can,
dedication.
and you can actually, and it makes a difference in the movie. You can
Yeah.
tell in that movie when he takes off from the aircraft carrier, and it has the camera inside the cockpit. You can tell that that's a real
And it's not a stunt
damn
double.
yeah, it really makes a difference.
No, I'll give him credit for that.
No,
Honestly,
Tom Cruise, if you're listening, Tom, whatever you like to be called,
he's not listening.
you never know. We think you're crazy.
You think
but,
that guy listens
but we
to
think you're
podcasts?
crazy in the cool way, not in the Mel Gibson way.
He maybe listens to Joe Rogan.
Maybe.
But do you think when he wants to hear anyone else talk besides himself?
I don't know.
Or Katie Holmes?
I actually
oh, yeah, they
don't know much
divorced.
about Tom Cruise. But Tom, if you're listening, we think you're absolutely insane, but in the cool way, not in the Mel Gibson way or the Bill Cosby way.
But Mel Gibson still somehow... I still somehow
His
like him
car-
a little
His
bit.
career somehow isn't over.
Yeah.
I don't
He was-
understand.
I
that.
want to see this. We should talk about it. He was in this movie where he's Santa Claus, but in this universe, Santa Claus is like John Wick, like an assassin,
Oh, that sounds cool.
and like the Russians want to kill Santa Claus, and it's called Fat Man.
Oh, I've seen that like on Hulu or whatever it's on.
That's insane.
Hulu or Amazon.
And
or
it's
whatever.
Mel Gibson. And it's
Ah.
not Braveheart era or Lethal Weapon. No.
No, it's now Mel Gibson.
yeah.
I've seen that. I saw the
With those insane eyes.
I saw the image of the poster for that and was like, Fat Man, Mel Gibson. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
What? Yeah.
But then I didn't click on it because I was gonna watch.
My phone did a flip.
That's okay. Anyway,
So I have a list here. A lot of these games I haven't played because I knew they were bad.
yeah,
But Watch Dogs is on here.
yeah. Anyway, real quick to sum up, Watch Dogs Legion is a good game, and I wasn't necessarily disappointed because I didn't expect it to be amazing, but it fails to make you care about anything that's happening.
But yeah, exactly.
The gameplay is really.
I think the
solid.
first Watch Dogs makes you care more.
Yeah, the first Watch Dogs makes you
It's
care
just
more. The second one makes
Nothing
you
to
care
look
more.
at.
Yeah, the second one is
It's just gray and like
the second one's pretty, makes you care. The Watch Dogs Legion is gameplay wise solid, world building solid,
story.
story. I don't remember what's going on in the story. It's one of those stories where I kind of just go. They say go here, do this, and I go okay.
So this list is
Time to kill a bunch of people.
disappointing games of the 2010s.
Ah,
I had one for 2020. It was mostly Cyberpunk.
yeah, Cyberpunk was. It was the main inspiration for this episode.
Yeah. But so Watch Dogs, yeah, the explanation is in the 2012 demo, it showed high fidelity lighting, fog, and wind effects for Chicago. But then when the game actually came out, it was bland.
That's attributed to a whole era of Ubisoft games in the first half of the 2010s, where Ubisoft did that for fucking every game.
Besides Black Flag,
Yeah, they
because
did
that was a colorful, good-looking game for the time.
Yeah. Oh, I've got another game. I don't have much to say about it.
What?
But in fact, I don't really have anything to say about it. Other than it was very disappointing. Is every Far Cry game I've ever fucking played.
You heard that, Caleb.
I've played Far Cry 1, 2, 3, and 4.
They're just not your type of game, then.
And
because I enjoyed the.
No, I can't get into them. I've gotten like, and I've really tried. Like I got
Right.
30 hours into Far Cry
Yeah.
3, you know, and just, but that was me pushing it. Like people say this is like me
It's like
sitting,
Skyrim,
like
but with
me
guns.
sitting there on the couch, me sitting there on couch, being like, people say this is good. People say this is good.
You know
must
what?
be
It was
good. Maybe it'll get good soon, and I don't like them.
It was always advertised as Skyrim of guns. No, it's not.
No, it's not. But it's one of those games where every single Far Cry game has been like, oh, well, like I started.
Maybe you're not playing them right.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm not.
You're
in the,
supposed to do stupid shit.
Maybe I'm not in the right mindset. I don't fucking know. And I recognize. Here's the thing. I recognize they are good games. I see
The new
why
one, we haven't seen any gameplay, but the guy from Breaking Bad, Mandalorian, I forget his name.
Gustavo, whatever.
He's
it
a good
is.
villain. He's the villain
He's one of the.
in it.
There's
So
a meme I've seen floating online where it's like when that guy shows up in a TV show and you know that the main character is fucked.
yeah.
Um,
Except at the end of the Mandalorian, he was kind of dumb.
yeah.
He assumed he was like, "Oh, I'm in a different room."
Well, I think he was.
But then, like,
I think he was relying.
spoiler.
he was
I mean, if you don't know about this,
he was relying on the Dark Troopers.
but then when Luke Skywalker showed up, he tried to kill himself.
I did kind of like that though,
No, I know
because
because
he realized he was
he's fucked.
actually fucked. Then.
like,
because when he was first captured, he was like, "The Dark Troopers are coming."
yeah, and you might kill a lot of them, but
and
like,
you guys are too good to execute me right now.
yeah,
And then Luke Skywalker shows up and he's like, "Fuck."
he's scared.
Yeah, he's actually scared.
That shows. I don't want to talk too much about it, but that show redeemed Luke Skywalker finally.
Yeah.
That's what we wanted to see.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
all we wanted.
and in The Last Jedi, I liked that character arc, but we didn't get what we wanted to see.
No.
This is what we wanted to see.
Have you
And
heard,
this made it.
do you know the
this-
YouTuber Critical Drinker? He's a Scottish guy. He's always drunk and he
Yeah.
reviews movies and stuff.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, I love him. But he fixed Luke Skywalker. And he was like, basically, Last Jedi actually has a good character arc for Luke Skywalker.
I've always said that I didn't like the ending.
It's just executed poorly.
Yeah, I didn't like the ending of The Last Jedi, but I loved the character arc.
I don't want to talk about it too long, but Last Jedi,
Yeah.
Luke should have had his green lightsaber, by the way.
He should have. That was stupid.
Yeah, why?
That was a
I
good
mean,
one.
and he should have actually showed up, and if he didn't actually show up, he shouldn't have died from the Force projection.
Yeah.
He should have died in the last movie. That
Yeah.
would have been fitting.
That would have been better.
He should have died like
Even
fighting
if the Force,
Palpatine, or I don't
even if
know.
the Force projection made him weak, so he couldn't.
Also, raise a
you know.
Mary Sue, and I'm never gonna get over it.
I
But anyways,
yeah.
back to games
Back to the games.
because I get more mad
I
over.
just gotta say.
But yeah, Mandalorian, Luke
just-
Skywalker.
I
was
just gotta say
excellent.
about the real quick because you brought it up.
Okay.
Because people have been recently talking about how they want the sequel trilogy to be erased. So
I'm not even for that.
here's the thing, and I've made this point to other people, and I want to make the point here because I think it needs to be said. I don't like the sequel trilogy, But people didn't like the prequel trilogy when it came out. And I'm not saying that in 15 years people are going to like the sequel trilogy. I'm saying that when I was a kid and the prequels were coming out, those are the movies that made me love Star Wars. And if there's a little kid out there that thinks Rey is awesome, that's awesome.
More power.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
like,
no, you can't take that away from people because, yeah, we grew up with the prequel trilogies and we adore the original trilogy, of course. But there's kids out there that adore the new trilogy.
they do. And that's good. It's getting a new generation of Star Wars fans.
But does Kathleen Kennedy need to continue leading? No.
Yeah, no, give it to Jon Favreau.
Give it to Jon Favreau and Dave
Or
Filoni.
Dave Filoni, yeah.
Because they actually care.
But and the other thing I'll say is we can hate on the sequel trilogy as much as we want, which I will continue to do. I mean, there are some fun moments, but
Well, here's my thoughts on it.
that's the most I can say.
They're not
about it.
going to, like, replace the sequel trilogy, but they are probably going to just, like,
They
be
might
like,
They might just ignore it.
just ignore it. Just, like, do new stuff and, like,
Yeah.
not have
It's
any
still in
consequences.
canon. It's still in canon,
But it's
they
not
just-
acknowledged.
I've heard most of the actors in those movies say that they're not doing.
Oh,
it for
Oscar
Star Wars.
Isaac. He's basically the new Harrison Ford.
I like Oscar Isaac.
Like,
though.
he hates doing Star Wars.
Yeah, but I really like.
I know.
Yeah, I think he's great. And
No, there was an interview
but
where...
also, if we didn't have the sequel trilogy, the success of that, we wouldn't have the Mandalorian.
that's true.
But
But it needs to continue from the Mandalorian.
also, before we get back onto what we were talking about, which
Yeah.
was I don't remember what
Games.
the next game you were going to bring up. I just want to bring up while we're on Star Wars one more thing because I have to. Go on YouTube if you're listening and look up Solo: A Star Wars Story deep fake.
Oh, with Harrison Ford?
Someone deep faked Harrison Ford
Yeah.
onto the actor who played Han Solo in the new movie. And here's the thing I'll have to say about that. So a deep fake, if you don't
Alden Albright, or whatever his name is.
I can never remember his last name, like how to
weird.
pronounce it. I always thought he did a good job, just like because Harrison Ford is Harrison Ford, it's hard to replicate Harrison Ford.
And I know you say Harrison Ford actually isn't, like, a shitty guy
Yeah.
or a grouch, but he's the grouch of Hollywood.
He's the grouch of Hollywood, but he's actually apparently a super sweet guy. He just has the grouch persona, apparently.
Yeah.
I've never met him, obviously.
I
no,
wish
but
I have.
people deepfaked Harrison Ford on his face onto the actor in Solo, and it looks amazing. It's one of the best deepfakes I've ever seen.
Basically, a deep fake is when they use the AI to gather a bunch of pictures of someone, and then they put their face on someone else's face, and then
Yeah.
if it's good enough, it's indistinguishable.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing that people don't realize about deepfakes is it doesn't matter how good the AI or the technology is. The actor who's on set has to do a good job replicating the person who's being deepfaked.
Yeah, they have a
Which-
similar facial structure,
Not just that, but
beyond that, just
they
mannerisms,
they have to act right.
voice,
They have to
you
sound
know.
right. They have to do a good job.
Yeah.
And the deep fake of Solo, like, I think proved that the actor actually did a really good job. It's not his fault that no one can replicate Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
You know,
Solo was fine,
I liked it.
but
It's
no
not-
one's going to remember it.
It's not an amazing movie, but I liked it. There's a lot of fan service.
It exists.
Woody Harrelson, he's cool. Donald Glover, he's cool.
They are doing a Lando series with him.
Well, I'm excited for that because Donald Glover is fucking awesome.
And then Obi-Wan series, I'm just going to die when that comes out. But, so,
We
here's
will, we will spend 3 months on the podcast covering only Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, yeah. Each
Okay.
episode for a 3-hour podcast.
What was the next game you're taking?
I have this list, and I never played this game because I knew how bad it was, because I actually was going to get it. I never pre-ordered it or anything, but I was like, oh, a new Mass Effect.
Andromeda.
Yeah.
I've never played a single.
It's
Mass
apparently
Effect
like
game.
they created this new technology for the facial software and stuff, and it sucks.
The thing is, yeah. So I never played it, but I know about the whole face technology thing.
And it was just executed poorly. Like
They
apparently it had horrible like jittering.
they made
animations.
they made a big deal about this new facial technology, and then they it looks worse than LA Noire,
Yeah.
which came out 4 years before. I don't remember when. And LA Noire looked 10 times better. LA Noire still has good facial
It
animation.
has a lot of its weirdness to it, but
It
it's
has
still
some.
good.
It has some weirdness because, well, the weirdness comes from in LA Noire, the fact
Like when
that
you're just sitting there waiting to click the option.
that,
and-
but also they expected you when you're interviewing people to read their facial animations to get their.
So they give like
emotions.
really obvious, like
Yeah, so it's just weird at times.
they're either really obvious or so subtle.
in the time, too subtle that nobody would fucking notice that.
Yeah.
But in the moments where it's like a cutscene where it's people talking, it looks fantastic.
Yeah, and that's Paul Dano, isn't it?
Yeah,
He's gonna be the
they
villain.
they use that same technology for Red Dead Redemption 2.
They use it for movies, I think.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like they
Motion
pioneered,
capture.
that shit. So like Mass Effect Andromeda was like pouting this new technology, when it's like, well, you have better technology out there already.
yeah.
Like-
Well, apparently the game was extremely glitchy, and the choices and stuff was way less deep than like Mass Effect 3.
I've never played a single Mass Effect game. I know gamers listening will be like, "You monster."
What?
I keep meaning to, but
I played 2.
I'm the type of person that when I start a game, I don't play it start to finish without stopping. I skip between games. I still haven't finished Cyberpunk. I still haven't finished Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I still haven't finished Watch Dogs Legion.
Or Dark Souls.
Or Dark Souls. And it's because
Bet you haven't got
when
past
I
the Bell
sit-
Gargoyles yet.
when I sit down on my couch to play a game, I play whatever I feel like playing.
yeah,
I don't.
whatever you're in the mood for.
I'm not one of those people that
You
like.
have a game and then you just play that forever.
Yeah, I'm
until
not one of
you
those people.
complete
So
it.
I take a long time to finish games because of that.
I think the only games I really do that with is like a good game.
Well, I mean, there have been games I've done that. I did that with Red Dead Redemption.
Red Dead Redemption, any RPG, and like Dark Souls, because Dark Souls is like
I
the
did
challenge.
that. I did that
you
when
know?
GTA 5 first came out. I think the only game that I've done that with after I've like on a second playthrough where I've played it all the way through in one go was Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite stories in a video game.
So there's a game that we haven't talked about. Neither of us have played, but we were both very excited for. I remember us being very excited for it together.
Ooh, what is this? I don't remember.
Fallout 76.
Oh yeah, this is
So-
on the Xbox Game Pass, which I have.
I bet you haven't touched it.
No, I've not touched it.
We were both
I'm nervous.
psyched
Yeah.
for this. We were like, oh, we're going to play together. We're going to have our own camps and bases and all this stuff.
I remember I was saying that about Red Dead
But I
Online
didn't
too.
pre-order it
No, I'm
because I started hearing bad things about it.
I didn't either. I'm
And
glad
I was
didn't.
already nervous about Bethesda doing a multiplayer game.
The glitches you have in single player are
And not
amplified.
ZeniMax Studios, not...
Elder Scrolls Online, ZeniMax Studios.
That's
Elder
a good
Sc-
MMO.
Elder Scrolls Online is a good MMO. I'm
Yeah.
not a fan of MMOs, the format of MMOs. There's very few MMOs I've gotten into, but Elder Scrolls Online is one of the few that I think I put 40 hours into MMO.
Oh.
Which, I mean, on MMO standards is nothing.
No.
But on for the
That's like getting started.
on the standards of someone who doesn't play MMOs, that's a lot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Um,
But Fallout 76.
no, yeah, they should have just let ZeniMax do it.
Yeah.
Honestly, because ZeniMax did a pretty
Why
good
not just
job.
make it a Fallout MMO?
Yeah, just make it a fucking MMO.
But no, they tried to give it single-player Fallout gameplay with multiplayer,
yeah,
which sounds cool. And execution.
but it's not.
Yeah.
There's a lot of games that like the single player with multiplayer sounds cool that didn't work. Assassin's Creed Unity, which we mentioned before, which I actually will defend. I will defend Unity. I actually think Unity is a great game, despite its issues. But the multiplayer sucks. And it was the idea.
Yeah.
It was the concept of you take this single player Assassin's Creed and just you do it with more people, and it just didn't fucking work.
But back to 76.
Yeah.
It's littered with bugs. It's an empty world because it takes place in the era of Fallout where, like, most of the vaults haven't been awakened.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Like there's not that many
Well,
people.
Vault 76 is one of the first vaults
ones,
to
yeah.
open up.
So there's
Which is cool. It's a cool concept.
it's an empty world with just things to kill.
Yeah.
It has a story, but they're in the cassette tape things.
Apparently,
Now I heard that some of the expansions are good, like the Wastelanders
well,
one,
I've actually heard now.
the Brotherhood of Steel one.
I've heard now as we're talking, it's 10 times better than
It's
it was at
fine.
launch. Like, well, not just fine. I've heard it's actually decent.
Really,
But
I might have to look at it. But
I still refuse.
I was super hyped for that
I'm
game
still so
'cause
doubtful.
while I have problems with Fallout 4 because it's not really a true RPG. Well, not a Bethesda RPG like
Yeah.
we think of them. It was a good game.
It was
I
fun.
liked it.
It was
fun. It had better gunplay. It wasn't as deep as New Vegas,
It's the worst Fallout game,
but it's the best looking one, and it has good
but
gunplay.
it's still
and
fun.
It's fun.
Yeah.
So, I was excited for Fallout 76.
When they initially
Everyone
announced
was.
when they initially announced that, I was excited, but then pretty quickly, I became less excited.
yeah.
And it's because at first the reason I became less excited was not because I doubted it, but because I'm not the type of gamer who plays online games with other people very much. I like
Loser.
I like single player games. So when they announced it was multiplayer, I kind of just lost interest a little bit and was like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe maybe it'll be good, but it's probably not for me. You know.
Right. But yeah, it's horrible release, and I'm glad I didn't pre-order it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, same.
And you can look up a multitude of videos on it.
There are lots of people who really love that game though, and with the DLCs, apparently it's way better now.
Yeah.
And there are plenty of people who really like it, and good for them. But and this is a good example of why Cyberpunk fucked up so much. Is no matter how much Bethesda fixed Fallout 76, I probably still won't play it.
Yeah.
And that's the same
Me
thing.
neither.
Same thing with Cyberpunk. No matter how
I
much,
haven't even thought about it.
no matter how much CD Projekt Red fixes Cyberpunk, will it forgive the initial state of it? Probably not.
Another game that I should mention, I've never played because I knew it was bad. Aliens Colonial Marines.
I never played that, but I heard it was bad. I don't actually know much about that.
They bragged about it having sophisticated, crazy AI, which Alien Isolation did have great AI. It was a great game and scary.
Yeah,
Alien
that is a
Colonial
fantastic
Marines.
game,
It's basically a $60 arcade shooter. Like one of the cheap ones.
Yeah, one of those like
you'd play at a pizza place.
when you
It
play
has
at
the gun.
Dave and Buster's, and it's like
Yeah,
yeah,
it ended up being like that. And
Yeah.
most of the time, you weren't even fighting xenomorphs. You were fighting generic soldiers.
yeah. And honestly, I've had a lot of fun at Dave and Buster's playing those games. But it's probably because of the atmosphere and the fact it's an arcade machine. I have an actual gun.
And you're
it-
drinking a beer or
And
whatever.
I'm drinking a beer and I'm eating pizza. And as soon as you take all of that away, I'm like, well, this is stupid.
Yeah.
If you made a skee ball game that's a video game you play at home and charge $60 for it, would that be good? Even if it was the most well-polished game in the world, would that be good? No, because
Well, and this wasn't the most polished game in the
because-
world.
Exactly, and that which made it even worse. But no, it's like no, because skee ball is something you go to an arcade for, and you get a beer, you get a slice of pizza, you're with your friends, and you're physically there doing it,
Yeah.
and that's what makes it fun.
So that-
skee ball isn't fun by itself.
No.
It's fun because you're with. Have you ever stood at a skee ball machine and played alone? Because I have. It's
That's
pathetic. Yeah, exactly. It's sad. And it's pathetic. And it's not very
And
fun.
Alien Colonial Marines is basically like playing one of those shooters alone
Exactly.
in your room or on your PC or whatever
Yeah. And it's just
with
it's like,
horrible AI.
God.
Another game I'm going to mention, I never played it because I knew it. Well, it's not a bad game, as we discussed before we recorded. Order 1886.
I've never played that, but I'll tell you.
I heard it's a cool game and it has good gameplay and stuff, and it's like werewolves and whatever.
Well, I've actually heard the game itself is fantastic. Not just cool.
Great graphics, everything.
Not just cool.
Mechanics,
I've heard it's really good.
But it's like 4 hours long.
But it's like 4 hours long, and they charge $60 for it.
It was basically a demo.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's why I didn't play it.
That's why people gave it such bad reviews, because they're like, we paid $60 for this and we got $20 worth of content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another game I want to talk about. I never played it because I knew it was gonna be shite from the start. Anthem.
Yeah, I have not even looked into it.
Apparently, that was one of the most bug-riddled games to come out. It came out in 2019.
Honestly, I didn't even pay attention to the news about it.
I just saw some. I saw Gamer Rakes talk about it.
Well, the thing is, it's like before that game came out, The Division came out, and The Division was a disappointment, and Anthem looked like The Division, but with mech suits. And
yeah,
my reaction just to the reveal of the game was like, that looks stupid. Next. So
no,
I actually don't know anything about that game at all because I didn't pay any attention to it. It was announced. I immediately dismissed it as looking stupid.
But yeah, apparently,
any Anthem news that came up, I just ignored.
Like tons of environments were removed to make the game run better, and it still ran like crap.
Oh. It's on the Xbox Game Pass. They added the EA Play.
I heard it's playable now.
So the EA had their own Game Pass thing.
Oh yeah, it's
Play. EA Play. They combined that with Xbox Game Pass now.
Oh, that's cool.
So I actually downloaded. I've not played it yet, but I'm going to soon. Jedi Fallen Order. But
that's a good game.
So if anyone who has Xbox Game Pass,
it's not replayable, but it's a good game.
Yeah, I've heard it's good enough for one playthrough.
Yeah,
at least. Anyone who has Xbox Game Pass,
it's basically Dark Souls, Star Wars, but not as deep as Dark Souls. But it's good fan service.
Yeah, fan service. Yeah, I've heard it's just like if you like Star Wars, you might have a good time.
Yeah,
like nothing more.
And it's got good fan service.
Nothing more, nothing less, really.
It's got a lot of Order 66 stuff. So.
But they added I have Xbox Game Pass, and they made it so they recently, starting in last November, or this most recent November, anyone who has Xbox Game Pass without any increase in price or anything automatically has EA Play, so all of the EA games. And there's actually, as much as I shit on EA a lot, there are a few games I do want to play. Jedi Fallen Order, Titanfall 2, I've heard the single player is fantastic.
Yeah, I've heard it's got good mechanics and all that.
Yeah.
A game that was disappointing, but not really, not disappointing enough for me to not play it, but the first EA Battlefront.
I have really mixed feelings about that.
It was just the real original trilogy era. And even then, it wasn't like fully fleshed out.
I played that on PC. I have really mixed feelings about that because I agree with.
It has good gameplay.
I agree with all of the criticisms on it.
It looks amazing.
Yeah,
it's on the Frostbite engine. That's a great engine.
It's a great engine. I agree with all the criticism about it, but I put 60 hours into it.
It was still fun
in multiplayer.
Yeah.
I've never put that much time into a multiplayer game before.
It's Star Wars. It's
still
still Star Wars.
I still had a good time. I bought the season pass after the DLC started coming out. I was having a good enough time with it. It wasn't like I bought the game and bought the season pass because I was excited. I bought the game on sale and was like, oh, I've heard this is okay. I'll check it out. I played it, got excited from the base game, bought the season pass, and played 60 hours.
Yeah. So that one's kind of a honorable mention or dishonorable mention.
Yeah, but I won't say it's a good game though.
But Battlefront 2, and I have played it a couple of months ago, but recently enough, it's good. It's good now.
I played it after they got rid of all the.
It has plenty of content now. Not all the heroes we want, but it's getting there.
I only bought it within the last year.
But they're not supporting it anymore. So now
Yeah.
the PC modding community is taking up
And I wish I had it on PC.
the reins, you know.
No, I bought it within the last year after all the controversy, after they fixed everything, and I've had nothing but good experiences from it.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, yeah, the main thing with that was the
they
loot box thing
they modded Bernie Sanders into it as Darth Maul.
with the mask and like
Yeah,
stuff.
with the mask,
And the mittens.
the mittens, and he's just in the chair, and he's a static model, and he just has the lightsaber. That
That's
spins,
one of the most.
spins around him. Oh,
That's one of my favorite wholesome.
I just hit the microphone.
You did. You were flailing your arms.
I was doing a Darth Maul Bernie Sanders thing. I couldn't not flail my arms.
Yeah, that's one of the more wholesome memes. I love it.
I really like that one. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good one.
Do you have anything else?
I don't know. There's a couple games I could talk about briefly.
I mean, like I said, I try to avoid bad games.
yeah, I was disappointed by Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Not because it was a bad game, but because they hyped it up as like they learned from their mistakes from Unity, and they didn't.
Right.
Or I guess they did learn from their mistakes from Unity, but they made all the things that were good from Unity, they made worse though. You know?
Right.
No Man's Sky back 2016. I was super hyped for that. And I pre-ordered that. And I didn't think it was absolutely terrible on launch, but yeah, I mean, it wasn't good though. And I bring that up mainly also not because I was disappointed at launch as well, but I've recently tried playing it again after they've made it supposedly better, and it is better, but I can't get into it. You know what I mean?
Wait, what?
No Man's Sky?
Oh, I was not listening.
Oh.
Yeah, No Man's Sky. Yeah, we thought it was going to be like, oh, you could go to all kinds of different planets and they would all be like different and have dinosaurs, and no, you ended up getting weird little ferret creatures, and all the planets were just generic. Most of them had no life and they were just rocks, which makes sense, but they basically all felt the same.
Yeah. And I've played it again. I was saying I played it again recently after several times, actually. I've tried it several times in the past year because it's on the Xbox Game Pass to play it. And as much as I do think it is better, but it's not my thing anymore. It's still not my thing.
I tried playing. I mean, it just seems like a game that would come out on Steam for $20.
Yeah. One last one on my end.
It's just another survival game.
One last one before we wrap up. That I know you have not played is because it's a PC only game. Well, actually, no, they just released the definitive edition or whatever it is on consoles. Pathfinder Kingmaker. It's a Baldur's Gate style RPG based off of Pathfinder role-playing system. And I played it, and they released it recently and added some features that I think were needed. And I think when I played it initially, I just thought it was way too grindy. I was very disappointed.
Which one? Baldur's Gate?
Pathfinder Kingmaker.
Pathfinder?
Yeah.
I feel like they removed the statement from Cyberpunk. I'm trying to find it, and it's almost impossible. That's probably something they would do. Release this apologetic but not really honest statement, and then remove it. I mean, I have the video, but I was trying to find the written language, but no. Unless I'm searching for the wrong thing. But I wanted in on that. But basically, yeah. It's never fun to spend $60 on something and get what you weren't promised. I mean, that constitutes false advertising. And it's just, I think after my experience with Cyberpunk, I don't think I'll be ever pre-ordering a game again. Unless I get my hands on a like Resident Evil Village, Resident Evil 8. I played the demo, looks good, plays good. It's continuing the first person gameplay.
That looks pretty cool, yeah.
I would pre-order that, but I'm not going to because I'm just never going to pre-order a game again.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I'm reluctant.
Thanks, CD Projekt Red.
Yeah.
Unless it's Elder Scrolls 6, for instance. I'm going to pre-order that.
You fucked up for other developers.
I'm going to pre-order Elder Scrolls 6 no matter what.
Yeah.
People could be saying it's the worst Elder Scrolls ever.
Or the rumors that because Microsoft owns Obsidian and Bethesda that they could do a New Vegas too. I don't buy that, but if that did happen, I would pre-order that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe Starfield.
Yeah.
Basically, Bethesda, even though you've fucked up a lot with Fallout 76, and basically modders have to fix your game every time you release one, I'll always buy your games.
Yeah.
Damn it, Todd Howard. Got me by the balls here.
God, Howard.
He's fallen.
Fallen from grace,
But we still
love him.
Yeah.
All right.
But
Well-
CD Projekt Red, you are not Bethesda. And you used to be on a golden throne of gaming developers.
Yeah, makes me just want to go replay The Witcher 3.
I mean, this whole thing with Cyberpunk is basically like if CD Projekt Red was Anakin, it was supposed to be the chosen one. And then it killed all of its consumers with Cyberpunk 2077.
CD Projekt Red is Darth Vader.
Yeah. Well, no, CD Projekt Red is Anakin, but not Darth Vader.
Oh, I see. Okay, not yet.
It doesn't get to be that, okay?
Yeah.
Because Darth
Okay.
Vader's cool.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he's Anakin in Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Sorry, Hayden Christensen.
Oh, I'm excited to see him
We
come
actually
back.
love you.
Oh, yeah.
We just don't like Anakin.
But
in
I'm just saying,
Revenge of the Sith.
you were supposed to be the chosen one, and then you literally stabbed us in the back.
Yeah. All right. Well, any other games you want to talk about?
Damn it, CD Projekt Red. Damn you.
Damn you.
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, this is
Unless you want to rant about Cyberpunk for another 30 minutes, but
no, we're already.
it makes me mad just to talk about it more.
We're already long enough.
We're out of time here. We'll see you next week. We don't know what we're going to talk about. You don't know what we're going to talk about, but we'll be here. So,
Yep.
And hopefully, by the way,
we'll be releasing on Fridays from this. From
yeah.
this point
So
on.
our plan Fridays at 6:00.
Yeah,
Is that a good time?
That's the plan. Yeah, Fridays
Yeah.
at 6.
So look forward to that. And also, I hope you enjoy. If it's on yet, it should be on.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed a new song because we had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah.
The
new intro song.
And we will see you next week.
All right. Yeah, we'll have a good episode next week.
Have fun not playing Cyberpunk.
Yeah. Play
a good game. Just play Skyrim again, honestly.
Play Skyrim for the 500th time.
Just do that.
Caleb.
Save yourself from the misery.
All right. It's the Outdrug Podcast.
Play Skyrim.
Play Skyrim.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Roll the intro. Or outro.
Outro. Gosh.
I'm out of touch now.
We're rolling the intro now? This was all just a prologue?
Roll the out.